Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. I'm here with my friend and partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we are the Biz Chicks. We just want to welcome you today. We're going to be talking about tech in an easy to understand way. So today we're going to explore Tech Life Weekly. And we always like to get started with a little history in what's happening in tech or what's coming up. And I'm going to turn this over to my friend and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to BizChicks TV. Thank you for watching live and on the replay.
Hmm.
So let's get started. Um, Tech happens all the time. So I'm going to go down here. There's a lot of stuff going on this week.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot in history. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And today's date is the 22nd. Yeah. So uh, I think I'd like to start the first practical electric razor. March 18th, 1931, Jacob Schick's second commercial design of an electric razor goes on sale. His first attempt, which went on sale in 1929, was an awkward design with the electric motor connected by a cable to the shaving head. Not surprisingly, that model did not sell well. Schick had to mortgage his home to keep his company going. This new version put the motor inside the shaving head, making it much more convenient. Even though it went on sale during the Great Depression, Schick managed to sell 3,000 units that year at $25 each.
Whoa, that's big money.
Yeah, that's close to $400 in today's money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And 1.5 million by 1937, creating the electric razor industry. Okay. And during the Depression, people did not have, I guess somebody had 3,000 people had $25.
Oh yeah, everybody's not broke.
No. In March
Maybe more than
18th, 1974, Atari introduces Grand Track 10. It is the first arcade game to use solid state read only memory, or ROM, to store sprites for each car, the game timer, the racetrack, and the score. As such, it's the first game to have defined characters rather than mathematically manipulated dots. The game's controls, which include a 4-position gear shifter, a steering wheel, and 2 foot pedals, are also first for arcade games.
Okay, there we go. More control.
Yes. March 19th, 1932, Sydney Harbor Bridge opens. The Sydney Harbor Bridge first opens to traffic, nicknamed the coat hanger because of its arch design. It spans 503 meters across Sydney Harbor and is the world's tallest steel arch bridge at 134 meters high. Along with the harbor and the Sydney Opera House, the bridge forms part of the now legendary view of Sydney. The bridge took 1,400 workers and 8 years to complete, yet it took the government of Australia 56 years until 1988 to fully pay off the cost of building the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I'm sure it brought more value.
Right. And if you pay in tolls across the bridge, that should, well, I don't know, maybe they weren't charging. That does not happen here at the Golden Gate Bridge, but you pay to cross. I don't know. It used to be $5. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh, I have no idea what it is now.
Yeah. IBM.com and Sun.com are registered. March 19th, 1986, the domains IBM.com and Sun.com come online. These domains are considered the 11th and 12th oldest domains in history. Now that's interesting. March 20th, 1800, Alessandro
Mhm.
Volta sends a letter to Joseph Banks, president of the Royal Society of London, describing his electric pile. This was the first device that could form a steady flow of electricity, now recognized as the first practical battery. Later
Mm.
called the voltaic pile, the entire reason Volta created the device was to prove another Italian scientist wrong. Luigi Galvani had incorrectly believed that frog muscles could generate electricity. Volta believed that the frog legs Galvani was using was simply reacting to electricity and set out to create proof. Regardless, within mere weeks, the importance of this first battery was realized, which also many further scientific advancements to be possible. This is a run-on sentence. Regardless, within mere weeks, the importance of this first battery was realized.
Mm.
This allowed many further scientific advancements to be possible, such
Mhm.
as electrochemistry.
Mm.
Recognizing the importance of his work, including the voltaic pile, the electrical unit of the volt is named in Volta's honor.
Mm. Like the 9-volt battery? What?
Yeah, the volt.
Mhm.
It was named after him. His name is Alessandro Volta. So he started out to prove somebody else wrong and ended up
Yes.
with a practical a battery that actually works. And this is one of my other stories here. Final history story. March 20th, 2025, Yahoo acquires the company Ludicor, along with its popular photo sharing site Flickr. Later in June of 2017, Verizon purchased Yahoo, and then in April of 2018, SmugMug bought Flickr. It was reported in 2011 that Flickr hosted 6 billion photos.
Wow.
How many of those billion are on your phone today? Okay, just saying. You know, we have so many photos on our phones.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we need to take, like, it's spring. So we need to do some spring cleaning, go in there and clean up your
Definitely.
photos. You could put them on Flickr. Um, I believe Google has a place if you want to store your photos. You can get more storage from the cloud. But photos, wow, lots of them.
We'll take a picture in a minute.
Yeah.
Now let me get a picture of that.
Right. Just like, and you're taking pictures of stuff. Oh, like, let me take a picture of this product, and you're done with it. You really should erase it or delete it right then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, tech making history. This saying here, it's not often in tech reporting that you talk to somebody who happily tells you that their job is doomed for obsolescence. But Dan O'Connell, the chief AI and strategy officer at the Cloud Communications Dialpad, sees his current role and the jobs of other AI devoted C-suiters as essentially transitional. They are there to shepherd their respective companies into a future where AI is ubiquitous enough that it no longer falls under the purview of just one executive.
Mm.
He says here, I actually think this is a moment in time type role, and it's funny to say that about your job. The need for a specific AI person goes away simply because everyone else levels up their skills and knowledge around those technologies, which is what my guess is probably happening. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't look to be there very long because of the way things are transitioning in there. Let me see what else I got on this one. Okay, plug-in price drops.
What is
EV
that?
prices dropped. That means electrical vehicle prices dropped
Oh.
12.8% year over year in February. the latest sign that the plug-in cars could soon reach price parity with the combustion engine vehicles, meaning the prices are going to be
The
in
same.
line with gas-powered
Close.
vehicles. That's according to the new data from Kelley Blue Book, which reported that the average price of an EV last month was $52,314, which is down from $54,863 in January, and only about $5,000 more than the average transaction price for a new vehicle in the US, which is about $47,244.
Okay.
And they go on to say that their research continues to show that price remains a significant barrier for consumer adoption. And Stephanie Streety, Director of Industry Insights at Cox Automotive, which owns KBB, said in a statement, while the higher inventory levels and increased competition continue to drive down the price premium of EVs, it's important to acknowledge that EVs remain priced above mainstream non-luxury vehicles by 19%. Recent price declines in the EV segment have been driven in part by aggressive price cuts by Tesla for their two most popular EVs in the country, the Model Y and the Model 3. And KBB's analysis found that transaction prices for the Model Y fell 16.2%, hitting their lowest level in February, while Model 3 prices were down 12%. And Cox Automotive also noted that high incentives and discounts on most models also continue to play a major role in lower EV prices.
That's good news for us who are looking to switch.
Right, it really is. Yeah, that's tech making history and tech history. Tech history and tech making history. So yeah, it's not bad. This is
No, it's not bad at all. I'm glad to know that we're, going to be reaching parity soon.
right. And and it also goes back to who you're listening to. Some people are still like, well, they're too much. Well, if you even out the fact that you're not buying gas,
yeah,
it makes it
I
different.
wonder what the insurance rates are, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, and the insurance rates shouldn't be more because okay, the car you're not dealing with gas and oil
and engines.
Right, there is no engine, so to speak. So you would think it's lower, but we'd have to check that out.
Okay. Yes. All righty, dighty.
So that's your week in tech history.
Thank you, Fran. Well, we're going to get started with a couple of stories. I always like these little human interest stories. And I'm always fascinated by the whole robotics thing. You know what I mean? And I believe it's still Women's History Month. And I found this little video that I want to share about a young lady who is in STEM. And she's interested in getting other people into the whole STEM area of STEM. So let me cue up this little video from, what do you call that place? YouTube. Hold on a second. Let's see, present, and I'm going to share the screen. Let's see, I think I've got her here. Let me open this up to full size and see if we can get this video started.
It wasn't linear, and I almost dropped out of university several times. I was faced with a lot of challenges along the way, the biggest being imposter syndrome. Where are the Black female robotic engineers? Is this really an industry for me? Post-university, I hoped that the workplace would be different. I've worked in multiple technology sectors, from developing algorithms for self-driving cars to mobile game data analysis for some of the biggest gaming companies in the world. But unfortunately, one thing was consistent. I was the only Black engineer in the room. I've experienced firsthand how young women like me are discouraged from working in STEM fields. It's no secret that engineering companies are mostly dominated by white cis males. But the reality is, it's hard to be what you can't see. Representation matters. Now more than ever, it is important that we acknowledge and celebrate women thriving in STEM in order to motivate young girls into these industries. Today, I work as a consultant creative technologist, helping companies and individuals raise their profile and increase their efficiency through harnessing the power of a range of technologies. No 2 days are the same, and the projects that I create for my clients are varied. From creating interactive paintings with conductive paints that, when touched, play music, to integrating NFC technology into nails to promote wearable technology. I have a strong passion to demystify and eradicate the negative stereotypes and limiting societal expectations placed on women worldwide that ultimately affect us from pursuing and retaining careers in STEM. We have the facts, we have the figures. It's already been proven that diversity in engineering workforces is essential to business growth and innovation. Besides support at home and in schools being vital, young girls actually need to see young women flourishing in STEM. I hope that through sharing my story, I can encourage and inspire other young women across the globe to be confident, to believe in themselves, and to let their passion for STEM be their strength.
So I'm hoping that by sharing that we are able to encourage women, young girls, and others to go into the area of STEM. I thought that was fascinating that she had the thing going with the nails. Okay, you're muted. Fran, you're muted.
I'm thinking if your nails can change colors just because of something
And
in the
play
thing.
music. She had incorporated that music into the paint, and then she started talking about the nail. I'm like, what if her hand could begin to paint to Good morning, Dr. Tachi. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that makes you want to be a part of that because it crosses different subject areas. It crosses art, it crosses literature, it crosses, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's not just all about hardware and things of that nature. So I wanted to share that in honor of Women's History Month, and to encourage young ladies to get into the area of STEM. Also, I have one more video. I got a couple of them, but I'm only going to share one. Okay. This one is about robots in the classroom. And see if I can find the. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong thing. Okay. Let me set this up. Go full screen here. Okay. I think we're ready.
Well, this is a unique adventure in learning with an eye toward the future. Robots are joining a Boston high school classroom, and it's entirely up to the students what the robots can do.
That's pretty cool. So it's just the first wave of robots coming to schools around Boston. WBC's Paula Evans shows us in tonight's Eye on Education.
My name is Pepper. I'm a humanoid robot and I'm 1.20 meters tall.
A robot that does its own introduction, the first one at Boston's English High School, and it's a learning tool for the school's computer science students.
Pepper is a humanoid.
That's for sure. Pepper dances with the best of them, fist bumps with a flair, and plays a mean air saxophone. And it's all because the young people here have programmed it to do all those things.
Hello, Alex.
Hello,
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
The company that makes Pepper, SoftBank Robotics, is donating 50 of the robots to Boston public high schools.
You're trying to get students interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
I'm very happy you all are here today.
Pepper comes with an almost clean slate. Students do the work of bringing it alive.
Sometimes when it talks back to you, you think like it's a person, and it's comfortable because she's so friendly.
Howie Horner teaches computer science.
We have students now who are thinking about a career in robotics. We have students who are thinking about what it means to work with robots using math.
Like, it helps me a lot in my career, and my hopes are to combine technology with medicine.
And for the students who are coding and programming, it's like, yeah, nailed it.
I'm glad you're doing well. Have a nice day.
You too, Pepper.
The demonstration at English High kicked off Computer Science Week in the city. Officials hope to have these robots in all Boston high schools by the end of the school year.
Wow. We'll check back in a few months to find out who Pepper's going to the prom with.
Oh, that too. And I would program it to like do my homework.
Smart thinking.
See?
There are so many things to talk about.
I mean, what do you think? You got computer science infused in your nails, your fingernails, in art. I never would have conceived of paint that could play music. Could you imagine walking through the museum and boom, the picture starts playing music as you get closer and closer to it?
Yeah, the Mona Lisa starts singing.
Yeah, that would freak me out. So I wanted to say this.
So with the second story about Pepper.
Oh, in the classroom.
Yeah, and I think that's good that we start, that the kids begin to program them. Just don't let the mean kids.
Don't let the mean kids in the program.
No, because then we'll have stuff like iRobot and watching TV just kind of, when you see robotics, you're going like, okay, somebody needs to make sure he don't end up like the robots in that movie.
Yes, and that's that. Yeah, I had a what do you call it? A video to that effect. I was okay. No, that might be a little much this early in the morning. But
but I like the fact that we are using the robotics to do things that humans don't necessarily need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? They use them for
good.
For good purposes. The more dangerous things, I can see how we need to do it. And that robot had more dexterity than some of the other ones
we've seen. They're really getting better and more flexible as they develop. The thing I liked about it was, I remember when we took our workshop kids to the Apple Store and they programmed the balls.
Yes. Yeah.
Now to see young people programming these robots, and that because they're in the Massachusetts school system, what are they? The feeder group to MIT, Terry?
Mm-hmm.
So they're really giving them practical tools to work with that will excite them. It's hard to excite kids now. There's so much.
Right. This is good. This is for the kids who took apart the clock and the radio. Yes. And I wonder how they took it all apart and now they're putting it back together, trying to figure out how things work. This is good.
Yeah,
I can see the good. Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, I love anything that will get students into
excited,
excited about STEM and not just STEM, because I think people act like those are the only fields that matter. They're not. They all work in concert together. Where you need STEM, you also need the arts, you also need social sciences, etc. Because what good is it that somebody can build a robot but they don't know how to talk to people? That's the problem we have with doctors now. They know how to do their thing, but they don't know how the hell to talk to people. And so everything needs to work together in concert. So it's but I am very excited, especially when we talk about Boston public schools and we're talking about a population of students who traditionally don't have a lot of that school system doesn't pay a lot of attention to them in terms of getting ahead for the next, being the next generation of creators. They're very concerned in a lot of public school systems with standardized testing, with making sure they can get federal money by passing these standardized tests, etc. And so these fine skills get tossed by the wayside. So I'm so glad it's going to take industry to say, you know what, you're being too slow about this. We need to train the next generation of people for our companies. Let's make that investment, because you are making an investment in yourself when you do that. And let's give these robots to the school. I think it's amazing. And the thing is, like, we're so behind. Like, my sister right now, I told you all, she lives in Malaysia, and she happens to be in Thailand right now. Already they're being served by robots. That's the thing, so they you get your food, a robot brings it out to you. And that happens in Asia a lot, places in Japan, in Malaysia, in Thailand, that happens. And so we're already behind the 8 ball. Is that the thing? Whatever the thing is. But so I'm glad to see this.
Behind the curve.
There you go. You know me and sayings. I don't know.
Yes, that's okay. We got it.
And why are we behind the curve? Is it because we are slow to adopt new things? It's like I could do it myself, or
I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think I might have mentioned this last week. I don't remember, but we were talking about the government, and I was saying how I transitioned from private corporation to government and went like from here to there. And it's because the government doesn't lead the way. And the Obama administration tried to put in a tech czar or Department of Tech or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was a good idea, but they were way behind. They should have had that years ago. And then the next administration came and got rid of it. So if the government's not leading the way as far as educating Americans about things they should already know, because not everybody, most people have a smartphone, but they use it for other things in education. So the government is not leading the way with this. That's why. And over in most of those Asian countries, the government leads the way with that.
And when the government does lead the way, they choose the lowest bidder. You get what you pay for, people.
Yeah. Exactly.
But they pay more taxes. Every country pays more taxes than we do, I believe. I double check, but I think
I think we need to check that.
It's one of the things. and in the healthcare, which is another rabbit hole we're not going to go into, but other countries, they have a high level of taxes, but they look at all the things that they get. Free that.
Yeah, and I'm okay with paying high taxes if I see where it goes.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be paying taxes and I still see pothole. I mean, we don't have very many potholes in Florida, but I shouldn't see near a pothole. Nothing. No wires should be hanging. Everything needs to be tight. As much we pay here, and as much of nothing we get. I not at all. I don't want to hear that. But two things to your point, to both of your points, both Terralina and TJ, absolutely, with the thing that the lowest bidder and the fact that there's bureaucracy in government and it takes forever for things to get through. And, I think people just don't want to, these entities, these agencies just simply are headed by, and I'm not trying to be funny, but when you have everybody that's Abraham and Sarah's age running things, and you wonder why they don't want to accept, because Abraham and Sarah are comfortable with the Victrola and the old technology that they had, and they're not trying to change anything. And so what happens is, this is our fault too. We keep voting in people, and this is not to be ageist. You can certainly learn at any age. The problem is we have people in there that are advanced in age and don't want to learn. You can't be both. I'm sorry. One or the other.
Ways,
you cannot be both. And then to the point also, all we have to do is look at several agencies. I can't remember which city it was, but this was a few years ago. This was like, I had to say probably around 2012, 2013. Remember the Windows Phone?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So the
Mm-mm.
Windows Phone, I actually had one and it wasn't bad, but it was not compatible with anything. So a lot of these apps that worked on the iPhone, etc., I was like, you can't even get them. And I wanted to. I was selling stuff, going to different markets, farmers markets, and I couldn't download the app for Square. So I said, "Oh, this is rubbish." Okay, so they I can't remember which police department it was, but they did a whole overhaul. These agencies, they're like, okay, we're going to get a whole bunch of new phones. They bought the Windows Phone. Now, it's not when the Windows Phone first came out. This is when they were on their way out. And shortly after, they stopped making them and stopped support. So my thing
Yes.
is like, who was the dummy, the bright, sharp dummy who said, oh, well, let's buy Windows phones for everybody without investigating what was going to happen? Now, obviously, Microsoft was kind of at fault for this too. You should say something, but again, it goes to, you have heads of agencies who don't know very much about things and are like, oh, well, let's just buy the newest thing without having somebody who understands, who has their ear to the ground, who could have probably back engineered to see, they're not going to have this very much longer. We need to go with something else. So that happens a lot. So now they ended up with very expensive paperweights. Congratulations.
Wow. So that's what I wanted to share today. And I hope you enjoyed it and were stimulated by it.
Yes. The robots rule the world. All right. TJ, you ready for us?
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I got my sync to my iPad.
Yeah.
So I can just give me a
So
second.
if you were not with us on Tuesday, TJ talked a lot about some different things that was happening on how to be able to what is the word I want to say? Oh my gosh, it's right there. I see your conversations, doing your conversations, or
driving the conversation.
driving conversations. That's it. Driving conversations, and how you need to be in the right room with there are a lot of people who are having conversations, but they're not in the right room, and nobody is hearing the conversation, and then the people are getting mad that they're not getting responses to their conversations.
Right.
AKA, go
so
ahead.
conversations is driving a lot of it.
Right. And you're over on one platform where you're better served on another platform, but you want to stay on this platform because it's all comfy over there, or you think it's all comfy, but nobody talking to you over there.
And one thing about that, I mentioned a client that I have that we had a strategy session, and then I like double checked the homework. So that person got in touch with me today, was like, oh, I'm still trying to implement what we talked about, but they had some personal issues and some I was like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, you got the blueprint, now you got to put it in, you've got to work it, you've got to implement it. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just then the conversation was about having another session and because I posted if you look at my Instagram, I'm just playing around because I was so tickled by what Dr. Tati did with her Jamaican beef patty pie thing. So I was trying to play around and like do different things with reels. So I posted like 2 reels, so it got that person's the client's attention, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta, you're doing this, that, and we gotta talk." So, but this was like something that I mentioned on Tuesday about, wanting to help and giving you the reins, but you gotta drive the carriage, you gotta drive the car. So,
and it was good. That's why I'm just saying, you need to tune in on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. because we get some really good nuggets about things. And TJ, you'll be happy. I set up my Pinterest.
Ooh, see?
Haven't put anything on it, but I did set it up to flow. I'm like, okay. And I have an idea of what's going to go on there. Now I just have to implement that part.
Okay, good. So see, that's what I was saying about giving out information, because I see people out there oh, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. And then the thing about Instagram with the reels is like the reach of it when it first came out versus today is different. I've
A
seen that,
lot
but I
different.
didn't freak out. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, and just went about my business. I said, well, I'll just post another one or do something else. But these people, and I see the conversations on threads mostly where they're freaking out about Instagram, not this, and I'm like, okay, move on. It's just, it correlates with the TikTok conversation, which I'm not going to talk about right now, but I'm just saying that the conversation of TikTok, oh, if it goes away, my business is dead. And I'm like, you got serious problems if TikTok, and it's not even really a ban. It's like the government is asking TikTok to sell, really. But saying ban gets the clicks and the information. So people are freaking out about, well, they can't live. And this conversation happened with YouTube. I remember a few years ago, YouTube changed something about their partnership program, or something about the payout was different, which all these platforms do. And I remember some woman got mad and went to YouTube, Google headquarters, and she did something or threw something or throw herself, whatever she did. It was because YouTube was stopping her money and she couldn't live. Like, I can't live. I can't pay my bills because you guys did. I'm like, wait a minute. YouTube is not your employer.
There you go.
If okay, you're doing YouTube and YouTube changes things, which all of them do, then guess what? You gotta adjust and maybe go get a job. What are you going to YouTube and throwing things and screaming and beating on what? I don't know, something crazy the lady did.
Because
and
it's
I'm like,
hard to earn money in jail, isn't it?
but what happened to I don't know. I'm just
for destruction of property.
I was just flabbergasted. Like, and I always remember that Gary, one of his videos, Gary Vaynerchuk said these platforms are free, and he's like, this is like candy in a candy store, like all the candy you can eat. And okay, so they could ask you to pay, like you could have to pay a cover charge, or you could have to what? They let you come on in. It's a platform, and they let you network, and it's up to you what you squeeze out of it. If you making lemonade out the lemons, good.
But at some point, they're going to stop serving samples. You're going to actually buy some groceries.
And I think I said before that business has been going on for eons, millennia. Jesus turned over the tables. Duh. How long ago was that? And you're saying today, because they might ban TikTok, that your business is dead. Then you didn't have a business. You didn't have a business because you could set up a brick and mortar. You could set up a table on the corner street where the traffic is. You could put a lemonade stand up. You could go to another platform. See, all these you coulds are there. It's not like TikTok is the only platform. It does it very well. I think that's what it is that, okay, TikTok made it easy and you got used to the easy, and now you don't want to go to YouTube, which YouTube has more of a lasting implication because it's in their minds, it's harder to get started because, you can't be seen on YouTube. You're not going to be Mr. Beast. You're going to be you, which is you might have 100 subscribers. You might have 500 subscribers. You might be lucky and get 2K. You might get lucky and get 50K.
May I add something? Okay, to Jesus flipping over the business, the tables in the temple. I don't know why that's my favorite thing in the Bible.
I love it.
I'm just like picturing him flipping over. But let me say, do you think that the businesses who got their tables flipped by Jesus, do you think they said, well, I can't sell anymore? No, Jesus just said they couldn't sell on Sundays in the temple. What they did is probably went out on the street.
You cannot sell an inferior product.
They took the table and went inside. Oh, okay, we can't do it in the temple where there's an outside.
Exactly.
To your point, get some decent merchandise.
And you get people into the people that are coming into the temple and got to come out the temple. You can get their attention, but you have to be the salesman. That's what they don't want to be. TikTok made it easy, the easiest out of all social media platforms.
Well, which
And
then also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that also begs the
no, go
question
ahead.
of how good of a creator or business person are you if if this is the only place that you can get attention and it has to be easy for you in order to do it. And that's no disrespect to anyone, but
No,
it's like it's content creation is hard. It
yes.
takes a lot to get noticed. So if you got noticed because it was easy,
Mhm.
how good are you really? And that's not to be disrespectful, just to be
No,
insightful.
you're right. It's not disrespectful. It's insightful and it's realism. Get real. Business has been business for hundreds and thousands of years, millennia. How are things being done? Because now social media comes along and now you've forgotten how to breathe or something. I'm like, what? These things are fun and great, but it's the same thing with Facebook and Instagram went down, and it went down yesterday, and all the Instagram and it locked me, but you still got email, you still got SMS, you still got that. Those things, I think we were talking about that on Tuesday, that those things aren't sexy or popular like the high school. I'm the high school cheerleader and I'm the big man on campus. But you got the nerds, you got the book people, you got the this, you got the that, you got the rocket club, you got the drama club, you got the chess club. Oh, those things aren't sexy in high school. But those people that were in those clubs, they are now the billionaires that you are mad at. Because they decided to follow the thing that they liked. And it became 20, 30 years later, it became something where they got rich off, and you're mad. Don't get mad. Follow the path. I don't get it. I really don't.
They're mad because popularity did not pay off.
That's high school. I just like, okay. I don't know. I'm just I when I hear these stories about the lady that was mad about TikTok going away, her business is dead. How? But people have been doing business for years. I don't get it.
know.
So
Okay.
there you have it. So we'll continue. All right. So I'm ready with my notes. I think I got my notes synced. Trying to get it here, hold it there. Yes, we are ready. Okay, so this week in social media news and updates, we got a Snapchat update. Yes, we do. Okay, yeah. Finally, Snapchat is woken up, or whatever, they were asleep after they had a bad earnings call. So I guess they went to sleep. All right, so but this has to do with the ad side of it. So Snapchat is introducing sponsored AR filters. Now, AR filters is an ad format that will allow brands to create augmented reality overlays that can be added to snaps after a photo or video is captured, but before it's shared. Now, that's not the lenses, with the little puppy ears and the different. Those are lenses, and those are in the camera. Those options are in the camera option as you're doing it live, so to speak, or getting ready to take a picture. You can put those on. The filters go on after the picture is taken, so you can take a picture anywhere and bring it into Snapchat and add your branded information on, and then it's available to others who come in to Snapchat to take a picture, or whatever the things that they do. Okay, so they're explaining. So sponsored AR filters different from the platform's existing sponsored AR lenses, as lenses are added to the camera screen before a user take a photo or video, while filters are added after the content is captured, after you take a picture, after you take a video. So that's the difference. So they're saying that you create these sponsored AR filters using Snap's lens web builder, and you can choose from templates and countdown timers, quiz generators. The popular ones are the makeup filters and stuff. And we've talked about what Snapchat has done as far as the Halloween costume things that they're doing, and they did the Super Bowl and sports online things, and all of these is to get excitement. And when you're excited and happy and you like the tools, what do? You use the app. When you use the app, you get served ads. When they serve ads, they get money. Snapchat is happy. Meta is happy. They're all happy. So and there's a lot of stories this week where you're gonna go, what? And I'm like, it's to keep you in the app. Okay. All right. So that's what's going on with Snapchat. They have sponsored AR filters. Okay, so that's what's going on with there. And I think we talked about before the Snapchat, something about the users aging up. I think we said it last week. Something about the users aging up in Snapchat from the 18 to 20 to up and up. And there's a lot of older people coming in, and those are the people that used it when they were teens, and now they're aging up. So Snapchat is trying to do things for them. I think we talked about that. I have to check my notes on that. All right, so that's Snapchat. And okay, let's go up to Microsoft, because I heard this one this morning. I didn't get the details on it, but Microsoft is having a Windows event. I didn't check it. It's coming up soon. I don't really pay attention to Windows that much, but they have a new Surface line coming out. A Surface is their laptop, and I had one and I loved it. But I don't know if you remember, it used to get hot, and then the glue, it gapped open on the side.
Oh, I
remember
forgot about the gap. I remember something.
It had I
It
think you
overheated.
showed it. It was like it just started bulging from the heat, and it gapped on the device. So I was just unhappy with it and never got another one. So, but now they're still keeping up with the Surface line. They seem to be popular. Maybe I got a dud or something. So they're saying the new Surface Pro 10 for business and Surface Laptop 6 will have a devoted Copilot key wedged between the Alt key and the arrows. So they're putting a new and Copilot is their Microsoft's
AI.
Generative AI answer to Chat GPT that does a whole bunch of things, and I think it's pretty good. It's got DALL-E, it's got not open GPT-4. We talked about the turbo and different things for free. So they're putting it on their new Surface lineup, and I was like, they're putting a key on it, but I'm like, okay, is that really gonna make people buy this Surface? Maybe if you're I need a new laptop and I'm in the Windows, and that new Copilot key. So I just thought it was like, I'm thinking about what Microsoft is thinking about, trying to get everybody to use Copilot and get the awareness on it. So this is their little quote. The new Copilot key on Surface Laptop 6 makes accessing the power of AI even easier with a quick button press to invoke Copilot in Windows to help customers to plan their day, find a document using natural text, analyze a website, and more with commercial data protection built in. So they're calling this the first Surface PC optimized for AI. Now I heard this because I had the little podcast news from Google, and I forgot who it was. Was it CNBC or somebody said, "Oh, it's the first AI laptop," and I'm like, "What?" So that's how it got my attention. I'm like, "Well, it's not the AI laptop. It's just the new Surface, and they stuck a Copilot key in there." Yeah. So if that's a thing.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you know the amount of people that actually use Surface? Is it big? Is it a big thing?
Sure. I'm
Because
not sure.
obviously I'm a Mac person, so I don't pay much attention to the others. But I'm wondering how many people actually use the Surface Pros.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. And like I said, I used to have when I worked for government, I had to support Windows, and I wasn't doing Mac at all. Then I left there. That's when I switched to Mac, and I kind of left Windows behind, because with Windows there was so many things that I had to remember, like to fix this, to fix that, because I've got to fix people's problems real quick. You got something, Fran?
I picked up a new stream of income, and they require us to use Windows-based stuff.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I? I'm like, I'm
It's like a
lost.
new language. It
It's
really
enough
is.
to
And it,
make you want to quit, isn't it?
it is
Honestly,
not easy. Seriously, the stuff that I'm normally do, copy paste, copy paste in Mac, you copy here, paste it over there. You cannot do that.
convoluted is the word for Windows.
I was like, how come I can't just push this button
No,
and do this?
no,
It does not work
no,
that way. I was like,
no. Nope. That's why I remember the Windows. I'm a Mac. I'm a Windows. Remember those commercials with the guy with the suit that looked like Bill Gates, and then the other one, "Now I'm a Mac," and they were trying to
oh my
interact.
God.
Yeah, so I remember those days. Yeah, Lakeisha says, "Oh no, you're right." So it's like learning a new language. It's like going to a foreign country and you don't know the language. And I'm just saying, I remember having to support Windows environment, and just there was just the amount of knowledge that I had to keep in my head. And then when I switched to the Mac OS, and it was like, okay, poof, all that stuff fell out of my head because I didn't have to support it anymore. But I do have like an old Windows laptop. Like the keys are worn off. I just use it for like, oh, somebody asked me a Windows question. But I had a Surface and I loved it because it was the touch screen and it had the removable magnet keyboard. I thought that was real cool. But like I said, I had one in the little gap and it got overheated and the glue. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm spending all this money on this thing and it's got glue that can't even.
I'm sorry. Glue?
Yes, it was glue because there was gaps and I could see inside. I could see the motherboard, I could see the chips, I could see everything. And I was like, why is this thing glued? It was glued. I don't know if I still have it or maybe I threw it away, but I was so mad because the surface really got really hot. It was so hot. But it's a cool device because it has like a little thing on the back that you open up to stand it up, or you could detach the keyboard and hold it like like you could hold it
Like a
like an
tablet?
iPad, and it had a detachable keyboard. It was really cool. I liked it. But
Okay,
that was
so
like
all
Except
that
for the
cool
glue.
fun stuff and it don't work.
Microsoft got glue in here. And it was not just me. I think I looked it up in a couple other things, but I can't even tell you how old that was. So maybe they fixed it or maybe
I
but it
hope
was
the
glue.
hell they stopped using Gorilla Glue for that.
I'm just saying, I wish I'd taken a picture or video. It was glue and I could see inside of it. It was glue and it was a gap and it bulged on the side. So bye. All right, so
Who
that's
said something on here about you get what you pay for? Okay.
So Windows is like, going, you don't know Mandarin, you don't know Cantonese, you're not gonna be able to make it. So good luck, friend. Good luck. All right, so that is Copilot, Microsoft Copilot. And let's since we're talking about OA. Since we're talking about generative AI, let's talk about OpenAI. OpenAI is preparing for the launch of the advanced GPT-5 model. So now see how these were going from 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4, Turbo 4.5. So OpenAI is coming out or getting ready to release GPT-5 in the coming months. They're saying by June, by the summer. There's not a definite date, but they're saying OpenAI could introduce GPT-5 sometime over the summer. The company has reportedly offered demos to enterprise customers, with one CEO who recently saw a version of GPT-5 describing it as really good, like materially better. So that's what they're saying. So March 2023, they released GPT-4. And then they later that year they put GPT-4 Turbo. So this is really, if you're in tech like that and you're looking for the next version of this, that, and the other, it's just a heads up that is coming. Also remember the Sora, Sora, which is the text to video. They don't have a date on that, but they said it's coming this year. So that's what's going on with OpenAI. Now let's stay with AI. YouTube says it will require creators to label realistic AI content. So YouTube is saying they now require users to say whether the videos, the videos they upload depict altered or synthetic media, including artificial intelligence generated content. For videos related to sensitive topics like health, news, elections, or finance, YouTube said it will put a label on the video itself. So they're saying you'll have to, when you upload a video, you will have to answer yes or no to whether or not your video contains altered content. They said the platform will ask if any of the following describes your content, makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't say or do, that's the deep fake, alters footage of a real event or place, or generates a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. So when you answer yes to these questions, YouTube will put a label in the video description that says altered or synthetic content. So this is what YouTube is getting into. So here's their quote. We're not requiring creators to disclose content that is clearly unrealistic, animated, including special effects, or has used generative AI for production assistance. We won't require creators to disclose if generative AI was used for productivity, like generating scripts, content ideas, or automatic captions. So YouTube says they will first introduce altered and synthetic content labels on the mobile app, and then they'll do it on the desktop browser, and then YouTube TV in the weeks ahead. So this is coming. They said they will also penalize users who consistently choose not to disclose this information. YouTube says they will also add the label in cases where the resulting unlabeled content may confuse or mislead people. So this is because we're in an election year. People have done things. The Taylor Swift, the Pope was one. Remember that picture of the Pope? Everybody thought it was him. The deep fake videos where they're taking, like Obama, whoever, and moving them, making them say whatever. The deep fake stuff. So that's what they're saying, that you'll have to label. It'll get to the point where if you ignore the question and upload it anyway, YouTube will slap it on there anyway. They will put the label on there. And then if you keep doing it, then they're going to go further. If you keep confusing people with this misinformation, you go really way out there with it, YouTube is going to take the steps that they need to take. And I know it sounds confusing, but this is what YouTube is doing. Also, remember, Meta is doing the watermark of the AI images that you use with their tool. So you can't make this AI content and pretend that it's all you. Now they're saying that if you use it to make a script or to do other things, that's not, you don't have to label it. It's just that if it's visually misleading, then it has to be labeled. Okay. And again, this is going to get worked out. This is going to get worked out as YouTube, starts to do this with people, and you're going to see people groaning and moaning. It's going to be worked out. Now, remember, I was saying way before that there has to be some kind of entity, some kind of thing where every content has to go through it and get this stamp of
good housekeeping.
Yeah, good housekeeping. But now this is okay. Is it AI generated or is it real? Is it live or Memorex? Remember that with the Ella Fitzgerald singing in the cassette way back. So that's what we're doing. So that's where we're at. Where it's going to be. This is AI. This is a real person. It has to be, because the AI it's getting to be so realistic. And that's because, getting back to OpenAI, and they're at GPT-5, and then the video, the video tools that let you make AI, those are getting real good. Because when I remember a few years ago, I was like, I don't want to use any of this AI stuff because it looked crazy. Remember, you would generate an image and the people would have 6 fingers or 3 hands, and face look crazy. But now we're at the point where it looks live or Memorex. Like, is that real? I don't know. So we're getting to that point, and this is what YouTube is trying to do. So what do we think of that?
I think it's necessary because some people would be perpetrating fraud if they didn't have to. They would be, you know what I mean? And then how would you know, even if they lied and the software picks it up that this is generated by AI?
Right.
You
Right,
know,
because remember, if you're asking how can they do this, eventually it's going to be to where they're not going to ask you to self-identify. Yes, it's going to be where they can tell. Why? Because everything in the computer, as far as programming and everything, is ones and zeros. Software programs, ones and zeros. Software, anything that we're doing, it starts with ones and zeros, bits, ones and zeros, and they're gonna have a way to track it all the way back. So you won't even, they're not gonna even gonna ask you. That's fake. I don't know when that's coming. I just feel like it is, and I think I've been saying that for a while. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was going to be tied to AI. I didn't know that, but I knew it was something. So that's why it's like, people get upset and then they start freaking out. I'm like, don't freak out. It's just that the tree got to shake and all the bad apples got to fall out first before they say, oh, okay, this is how we fix the problem. It's going to be fixed.
Okay.
It's just going to take this. We got to travel this road of, is it real? And I taught my daughter always that anything on social media, anything online, take it with a grain of salt. Do not blindly trust. And that's the thing that we should all do. Don't blindly trust it because, well, it looks like Obama, or it looks like Gayle King, or it looks like who. That's a look. So, and then, of course, these tools are being used by scammers and people that want to separate you from your money.
You know what, though? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This is all part of media literacy that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
These are things that need to be taught. Technology in media, etc., moves so quickly that we can't wait for you to get to the chapter in the book when it comes to this. So it's really going to have to be education systems, whether it's K through 12 and higher ed, that really take this by the reins and talk about this is how you identify XYZ, because we're not at that point yet where it is seamless and perfect.
Right.
You could tell, even in a still picture. Look at all the hullabaloo that happened over the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton. We still don't know where she is.
Yeah, because of the EXIF data. I think it's EXIF data. Yeah. So that's how they track that. But you're right. You're right. But see, to us, we can see it. But to people that's not paying attention, they just immediately run to it as authentic because their brain is saying, well, this came from the royal family, so why would they lie to us? They've never lied to us in hundreds of years, or what? And that's not true. They've lied to you hundreds of years. You just chose to
Exactly. And the thing is, there are some people who want these things to be true, so they look for this to be true. AI creates dreams. Let's just say that, and AI can fulfill all your diabolical dreams, and you'll fall for it because you want it to be true, even if you see that the hand doesn't look right, even if you see that there's a little bit of jerkiness in nope, it's them, because you want it to be true.
Because they're used, because human beings, we're used to doing things pattern recognition and things by rote, so we don't have to think too hard. And that goes back to, I think they call it the prehistoric brain or something. There's something in our brain that likes, okay, it can process things because it's like it's one, to protect us, and two, it's like, okay, your brain doesn't need to waste time on that because you've processed it before. It's that part of it. So when it comes out like this, and for them to be compared to North Korea or whatever country they were compared to as far as disinformation and being, putting out wrong information, that's really, really, really bad for an institution that's been around for forever. I'm not taking up for them because I'm like, hey, there's no need for them, but you guys love it, so you're used to it because you see it. Because you're visually, you see it all the time, so they must be telling the truth. Like, wake up, people. But so here we are. So we have to have a process where, and it's good to have a process that says this is AI. this is a real person. We need that because, like Dr. Tachi said, media training is necessary. My opinion is like, you got kids, you need to train them because you got to put them out in the world. They got to interact with people. They got to adult. So how are they going to adult if you're not you're not teaching them? Don't just hand a little device and say, well, here's a phone. And it's like, well, you wouldn't give them a tractor or a farm equipment that could do something to them and say, here, get on it. No, you don't do that. So a part of it is media training. A part of it is parenting. Also, the education system, I don't know if you agree with me, Dr. Saji, but it needs to change as far as like test. I feel like instead of them teaching facts, because you can get the facts from a reputable source, instead of teaching them facts, teach them the media training, how to think out of the box, how to have a thought that's not in a, what I'm trying to say? Like think
I agree.
not think creatively, think for yourselves, and instead of having them go to school and be robots, and it's good to learn the multiplication table, but they're not teaching it now.
Yeah, I think it's the critical thinking is what you're looking for.
That's it. Because they're spending all the time teaching them the multiplication table when they got one of these guys, and they just go, they don't even have to touch it and say, well, give me 56 times 135 or whatever it is that you're trying to multiply, because we've moved from that part of school to, what do you think about this? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? And then let them their brain process it the way that they do, and then have a discussion about it. Or else you're gonna have nothing's gonna change. And like you said about having the old dinosaurs in Congress and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's because Abraham and Sarah, to be
Abraham and Sarah are looking at the young kids going, they don't know nothing because you guys are not letting them free range roam a little bit creatively.
Yeah, absolutely. And really quickly, I think the thing is that critical thinking part is what separates people from robots. And if you don't teach them to think critically, because what's already happening is we're looking at, because that story was wonderful about putting robotics in the schools, but what can robots do? They can also replace some human tasks. So now, remember, we've trained, the school system is a training ground, not for critical thinking, but for you to be part of the machine. Well, now I don't need you anymore because I've got machines to be part of the machine. So what utility does that leave for you if you don't learn these critical thinking skills? And not to have a whole doomsday thing, but when you don't have productive citizens, that leads to other things in society as well. This is the start of it. So we've got critical thinking has to be really solidly put back in the schools, especially with the advent of AI, the advent of things like robotics and other things that can do things for us. Those robotic tasks will no longer be needed by the time these kindergartners get to working age.
Yeah, they're not going to need to know that. And then I think I read somewhere something about the current school curriculum or the system that we're using is from like when they wanted to train factory workers, like, instead of them being on farm, they were going to work in the factories, which were just coming up then.
The industrial age.
Yeah, the industrial age, and you didn't need critical thinkers. You needed them to put the bolts in, and that's all
on assembly lines.
Yes. So the school system was designed. Some school systems were designed around that. So, but I'm like, okay, that's what 100 years ago. I don't know how many years. We need something different. It has to change. So we'll see. All right, so let's look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn plans to add gaming to its platform. Remember, I was just saying about what's going on with Snapchat. LinkedIn is working on a new in-app games element, which would enable LinkedIn users to take part in puzzle games in the app, with their scores then added to their company's performance for competitive corporate rankings. So they're developing a new gaming platform InStream, which would include achievement streaks, rankings. They're working on 3 games, one called Queen's cross-climate inference. The game UI, that's the user interface, will show you how many of your connections have also played and where your company ranks in order to encourage participation. Now, why are they doing this?
Well, it sounds like a new form of testing and trying you out for puzzle solving within project management. It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
but
a back door to find out who knows the most so they can hire them.
well, see, here it is. So LinkedIn is saying we're playing with adding puzzle-based games within the LinkedIn experience to unlock a bit of fun, deepen relationships, and hopefully spark the opportunity for conversations. So really what LinkedIn wants is for you to stay on the app. To what? Play a game, to have fun, to compete with your coworkers, talk about it, share it, stay on the app and see ads.
Sir, I need you to go back to work.
I
Put
was
down the damn puzzle and go back to work. This could backfire. This could backfire because I mean it's a cool idea, and like you said, ultimately they want people to stay on the app, but it could backfire because you already know we have the attention span of fleas. So we will stay there. We won't do what we're supposed to do, and we'll start gaming and playing with these games. And you're not going to do it on your off time because many people can't stand their coworkers anyway. So I don't want to play a game with you after hours. It's going to be during work hours. So it could backfire.
Right. So here's some more here's a note. So the games are simple puzzle type games which may also be viewed as a way to prove your business intellectual superiority. And you can say some brands will use their LinkedIn games rank to pitch clients on their collective genius. So they could say, hey, look what, these are what our employees are doing. Look how smart they are. And all of that. Yeah. What LinkedIn wants is you to stay on and watch some ads.
And it can become a way of pilfering off employees from other businesses. Now they're all playing the game. They don't all work for the same business. It's a networking thing.
Yeah.
And the recruiter is in there too going,
yeah,
oh.
I agree with all of that. But the overall goal for LinkedIn is
stay right here.
Fun. It says it right here. Fun. Deepen relationship and spark opportunity for conversations, which means you have to be on the app, you have to be on the desktop inside of LinkedIn, and that means while you're in there playing games and and talking and bragging or whatever they're setting up, you're seeing ads.
Yeah.
So you know what this is, right?
It's like the Google campus. You can bring your dog, you can sleep overnight, we're gonna give you lunch.
This is the California hotel, people. The California
check
hotel.
in, but you don't check out. That's it.
You can check out anytime you want, but you just can't leave.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. So LinkedIn is working on that. There's no announcement when it will be released. So again, that could be something they put in and they could take it out, like they had the stories and they had all the other stuff and they put it in and it didn't work and they took it out.
Gamification is aimed at a different audience than the people that are currently in LinkedIn.
Right.
They're trying that the gamification is for the what is it? It's that I don't know if it's the millennials are into the games, whatever it is, the people
right.
Like
so they want a younger crowd.
Right.
They want the gamification, but they've done it in a way to where it's tied into a business purpose instead of just being Farmville or whatever the games stuff.
Yeah, because when they had them games on Facebook, I was like, if y'all don't get away from me with all of this,
stop sending me these notifications, and I'm like, blah 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 blah. I'm not here for that. Please don't send me those things. So, all right, so let's move on to Meta. So again, Instagram was Facebook. I think Facebook and Instagram or Threads or something was down about 12 hours ago, and people were freaking out. I think it's back. I'm not sure. But Instagram is experimenting with more frames within the carousel post. Now, a carousel post, that was you could add up to 10 graphics and then you had to swipe. You had to tell people to swipe. So it was limited at capped at 10. Now it's going up to 15. So they're allowing you to add up to 15 images to a single post. So it was 10, now it's 15. So why keep swiping, keep you staying in, and you look at this and you're staying in the app. Okay, so that's what's going on with that. So you got 15 instead of 20. Instagram is also testing longer reels and maximize engagement. Longer reels. Who did that? Who did longer reels? TikTok did longer videos. TikTok just went up, they want you to do 10-minute videos. So now they're saying that you can go up to 3 minutes long reels in the app. So you'll see a little pop up, or I think what the graphic was, it was a little pop up saying that you could do up to 3 minute long reels you could upload. So that's the trend. Like TikTok is trending longer videos, and Instagram is trying to keep up with it. Longer watch time means more engagement, keeping them interested, keeping them in the app. All of this ties in to money for Meta. Also, there was, I didn't remember, I don't know if we talked about it. It says that Meta says that Reels consumption is up 20% year over year. So they are happy with their Reels. What's going on with Reels in their app, because consumption is going up. So they want longer, allow you to put longer Reels in. And this is a EU tie-in, or a EU based story. So Meta is offering to reduce the price of the ad-free subscription package in the EU, because remember that the EU has a different privacy policy, and they hold Meta's feet to the fire differently than they do over here. So Meta said, okay, well then, if you don't want the ads, then you pay for this subscription. I don't remember the details. I just remember that it was complaints that you have to pay in order to ensure your privacy over there. The Digital Markets Act is what it is, DMA. So in order to comply with the DMA, Meta announced a new offering that enables users to restrict their personal data and get an ad-free version of the app, and it costs them a certain amount a month. So now the privacy people came back and said that's not fair. So now Meta is saying, okay, we'll just put it in half. We'll just half the price, and you still got to pay for this if you want an ad-free experience. So that's what's going on over there in the EU with Meta. They haven't half the price of their verification program over here. Is still the same price, and they're going to up it, because we talked last week about the survey of, would you pay more for these things? So they're thinking about taking it from 14 probably to 19, probably to 20, whatever, based on the results they get from that survey. So expect to see the price of that go up. Now Threads is rolling out trending topics to all users in the US. We saw that this week. Fran and I talked about that. We were talking about trending topics on X versus not having it on Threads, but now they have it. So it's a trending now feature, and I believe when you go to search, did I look at it? When you go to search in Threads, you get to see, and it looks weird to me. Yeah. Okay. So when you go to search, which is the magnifying glass in Threads, it says trending now, and whatever the topics that are trending, according to however Meta decides what is trending, you'll see the top 5 stories. So you tap one of them, and then you go in and you see the threads or the conversation about that. Like mine is like Kendrick Lamar, William Shatner's birthday, he's 93, a solar eclipse, something called Dragon's Dogma, and legal. Trump burns, something about Trump and legal bills. So if I was interested in any of those 5, I would tap in and I would tap into the conversation. So that's how they're treating. That's how they're treating trending topics, versus we were talking earlier this week about how, X or Twitter, whatever they call themselves, they had the perfect thing with trending topics. the way they have it over there. I don't know why Threads don't copy it, but they don't. I guess they don't want to copy X, but they really are. Just be honest. So the way that they're rolling this out is not, to me, it's not satisfactory. But they're saying that this rollout is going out with a select number of users. Trending topics are available on the search page and in the app's For You feed. So the CEO of Instagram says that the official launch, he announced the official launch and noted that the company Meta sees it as an easy way to see what others are talking about on Threads. I don't agree with that, but that's his opinion, and he's entitled to it. But they could do a better job with trending.
So I found it. I was like, oh,
you have it? Okay.
Yeah, because and when you mentioned that you have to hit the search button, then it shows up under trending now under the search. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's only the top 5 trending, I guess.
Right.
So
The top 5. And it's like, these are not things I want to engage with. So
yeah. William Shatner, just because we're on tech and he was part of Star Trek, okay, he turned 93 today.
Yeah, it's his birthday.
Happy birthday, William. Captain Kirk is 93 today.
Yeah. Happy birthday. All right.
I'm like, the rest of them don't matter.
William Shatner.
All right, I got one more. WhatsApp, which we haven't talked about in a while. WhatsApp now lets you pin up to 3 messages in a chat. You can now pin up to 3 messages to access them easily. Until now, users could only pin 1 message on top of a conversation with a contact or group. Users can pin all types of messages, including text, images, and polls. Pin messages is for, somebody sends you their phone number or their address, or we're going to meet up here, whatever it is that's important, and you don't want to scroll through or whatever, it pins to the top. So to pin a message, you have to long press on it and select pin. You can select the duration for the message, 24 hours, 7 days, which is the default choice, or 30 days, and it will stay pinned. Okay, so they're saying that this is something, I guess, that people want in WhatsApp. Again, I don't use it, so those who use WhatsApp, report back and let us know if this was something that you wanted and it works. And that's your social media update and news for this week.
Okay.
Thank you, Terry.
All right, Dr. Tachi, you are up.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I am now the pop culture correspondent for the Kenny Burns Show, or TKBS.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah, so I started this past weekend. So on Wednesdays, you'll get little pop culture stories, usually about 2. And so I post it's on the TKBS on their accounts, but also I repost them to mine. So I wanted to talk about 2 stories that I talked about there. The first one is Mr. Beast from thank you for the balloons. Thanks for the balloons. The first one is Mr. Beast, who is also known as he's Jimmy Donaldson, known as Mr. Beast. He is a big time YouTuber that made the Forbes 2023 list of top YouTube content creators, came in at 82 million, but his company, according to reports, made like between 400 and 600 million that he kind of funnels back into making content. So that 82 million is what he made. Good for him. So he actually has been tapped by Amazon Studios, or Amazon MGM Studios, to make a version of his popular show on his channel called Beast Games. So it's going to be called Beast Games. It will be on Amazon Prime Video. And this is the biggest game show in television history, because the payout for the winners, there are 1,000 people that are going to vie for this prize, $5 million. So that is the biggest payout in television game show history, and streaming for that matter. And this is his first time having a show on traditional television, whether it's streaming or, broadcast. So this is the first time. So good for him. It's
Yay.
interesting. Yeah, he's wanting
Right.
to make. Go ahead.
Because when I watch some of these other game shows, I'm just like, you guys are doing a lot of work for that little bit of money.
Yeah, it's like $10,000. I'm like, how very 1864 of you. That's not a lot of money. Even $1 million is not. Remember, I think when Survivor, remember the first Survivor, and the payout was $1 million, and they got that ugly Pontiac truck. It was ugly. It reminded me of the Cybertruck, to be honest. So Elon Musk, you're not original. But anyway, so that was the payout. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was probably one of the biggest payouts in history, that $1 million. But the moment you spend $1, you're no longer a millionaire. So
Don't pay the taxes.
and the taxes, exactly, because they love to come after the taxes. Despite the fact that I don't see what you're doing with it, but that's a different story. But anyway, yeah. So this is interesting. Congratulations to Mr. Beast on that, because I mean, this is just an extra. He built this empire on his own, and to me, that's a testament to the fact that. And he said that the reason he wanted to do this was to show the people that content creators can be and YouTubers can make great things that can be on television. I think there's been like a delineation for so long that, oh, well, this is these are content creators or influencers. Oh, this is TV. And that's a fair point, because every content creator is not a Arisa Tisa, is not going to be a great personality that everybody can connect with. However, they're doing something, because a lot of these people have millions of followers. It's just now, does this translate to a different platform? And I think you can make it work, and that's what he's trying to do. So congrats. Go ahead, Cherry.
Because I'm starting to listen more to Club Shay Shannon Sharp as like background music. So he had comedian Godfrey, I think
Godfrey was on yesterday. Yep, I didn't watch it yet, but yeah.
So yeah, it's a good one. I mean, it's like I said, it's long. I put it on. I'm doing other things, but something that Godfrey said about the content creation and everything. He mentioned a comedian that something about he could about getting a Netflix special, like, oh, you got to get a Netflix special and whatever. And he was like, no, this local comedian, he filmed his own at the comedy club, filmed his own thing, and had a part 1, 2, and 3, and he put it on YouTube. And he was saying how I think the idea was like, okay, as a local comedian, you're not going to be Chris Rock, but you can film if you're doing the comedy clubs and you're locally known or regionally, film your own stuff, put it on YouTube, and then that's how you being a creator and taking part in the creator economy. And I'm that was the thing that I was saying, like, a lot of people, instead of waiting for to be discovered by Hollywood, well, there's your platform to get discovered, or to grow your community, or to make money, or whatever your goal is. So I just thought he mentioned that. I forgot who it was, and I went and looked at their YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay. So instead of waiting for the Netflix, he was talking about the Netflix deal, like, oh, you made it if you got the Netflix deal. But he was saying, he goes into more detail, but I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to watch it, put that on the background as I'm doing stuff today.
Yeah, I let it play like that. I don't, I might watch it if he's doing whatever, but I will let it play because it's the conversation and you're getting into it. So Shannon has had a lot of people on that have talked about content creators and content economy, but not calling it that, just saying, okay, well, instead of doing this, I put my stuff on Facebook and I make millions of dollars, or I put my stuff on YouTube and I make all this money. And I'm like, they're dropping gems, like they like to say, they're dropping gems, but are people picking it up? And Mr. Beast he has picked it up, and he's showing you, okay, you can do this, you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So I think this is, don't be surprised if we see this as a windfall if we see a lot of this type of thing, because quite honestly, traditional telling people are running out of ideas, and it's not that there are no new ideas, it's
Right.
that traditional media does not like to play with people that they don't in the sandbox with people that they don't
Yeah,
know.
they like to put their money on a sure bet, like a sure thing.
And rightfully so. I
Mhm.
do understand and I do get that,
Mhm.
but at some point people were new, and some point somebody took a chance somewhere.
Right.
So I mean, you just it's a game. You just
Yeah.
have to really take a chance on these things. Some things will hit, some things may not. I
Right. And like
understand,
you
but
said, yeah, like you said, everybody's not gonna be Risa Teesa and get a deal and get rep by CAA. But you might, take a page from our book and tell a story or be a storyteller or whatever you're doing and say, hey, let me come on and say my bit. Somebody's gonna get it. That's the catch of it. So I think that's what Godfrey was saying about the community is waiting for Netflix to discover them and come and get them or give them a deal versus how about get out there and don't wait for the bus to come to you?
exactly, because it's not. The bus
Right.
left a
Yeah,
long
it's
time
gone.
ago.
It's gone.
It's
So
gone. While you were in 7-Eleven getting a hot dog, a yucky hot dog, the bus left.
the bus left you. So I'm just saying, like a lot of people, you're talented. You can tell a story, you can tell a joke, you can entertain, whatever it is. There's a gap there where traditional media isn't picking up the ball, but you can get in that gap and build your thing up, whatever the thing is, Risa Tisa, whatever it is. So that's what's called YouTube
Yeah. Yeah.
and other places. So
I have to say, YouTube is one of the most brilliant inventions of our time. I
yeah,
have to say, the fact that they started with cat videos, because
yeah. We didn't
I've
know
been
what it
with them since
was.
the beginning.
Yeah, me too. We didn't know what it was. It was like
Mm-mm.
YouTube. Didn't know what it was, and now it's becoming a thing. So I'm just saying that the opportunity is there for the person that's, oh, I need my big break. Hollywood gotta come find me. No, you do what you gotta do on YouTube, and if Hollywood finds you, great. If they don't find you, you still got that community, Club Shay Shay, whatever, that's building up, that's with you. So
Exactly. To the point where, I also don't want people to think that I think all forms of media are valid. All
yeah,
forms of media are necessary. I
yeah.
um
No,
I
I
like
agree with you.
the background music.
You are now joining the meeting.
Oh, really?
Who's that?
That's Fran.
No. I was like, what is that? I thought that was coming from your end. I was like, is that something Dr. Taji's in the bed?
Not me, not I, said the cat.
Oh,
So,
okay.
the key thing here is I don't want people to think all forms of media are necessary. I think all forms of media can win, but I don't want people to think that the only way to make a dent in media is through like a Netflix or somebody
Right.
coming to get you
It's
or
not.
being repped by a CAA. The overwhelming majority of creators will never be repped by like a
True.
CAA or a William Morris or any of those
Right.
agencies, and that's okay because they only, to be honest, actually serve a very small niche. They don't
Yes.
cover. That's why you have influencer agencies, and even with them, they're only taking X amount because they're using the Hollywood agency model.
Right.
So
Which
you have to
doesn't
be
change.
okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. The opportunity for you to be discovered was never there 30 years ago the way it is today, is what I'm trying to say. Like, people are like, okay, complaining about TikTok. Well, go to YouTube or this or go there. There's like a bunch of platforms and there's all these ones popping up. So it's really about you and your message and your talent and what, like you said, what you're good at. Maybe you don't want to be on video. That's cool. You can do a podcast. You don't have to do
Absolutely.
video. You can do one or the other. So that's what I'm saying. Opportunity. Just the opportunity is there. So
Absolutely.
and it's great.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're not paying. Now listen, we can get into the TikTok creator. They're not doing the creators. Well, you're not supposed to be in the creator fund. You're supposed to be there using it to network to build your own community.
Exactly. Okay, so without getting so deep into, because I
Yeah,
love to get
yeah,
deep into the woods with this.
yeah.
The platforms are never going to pay you what you're worth. Let's be clear on
No,
that. If
no.
you think you are going to become a millionaire because of TikTok, my friend, reel it back. It won't. So many of these creators, and this is not just in the influencer world, etc. This is
Mhm.
even in the traditional Hollywood world. They're
Yeah.
all realizing I can't just survive off of the few gigs that I get unless I'm an A-lister or whatever. So I
Mhm.
have this going, I have this going, I have this going. I interviewed one of my CQ friends who's an actor in Hollywood, and I had him on Mediascope during the strikes to talk about. He was our boots on the ground, and he was saying, he had an actor friend who has a mobile barbershop,
Mhm.
and he was there, and he's an actor but also has a mobile barbershop, and he was
Mhm.
giving free haircuts and things like
Yeah.
that. So the thing is that shows that he has another stream of income. You have to, yeah, it's not just off of one thing if you're looking to get to a certain point, and if what you're doing is where you're an independent
And
contractor.
here's something I love about that, the mobile barbecue, the mobile barber shop is
That
like,
too.
okay, and while you're there cutting hair or doing whatever, there's stories.
He could have. I hope that he set up a camera, he got permission, and
Yes.
he covered these stories.
Yeah, because you don't have to film the person's face. You could do it from the back or the side or show you, but you're because there's a conversation going on. Barbershop stories.
Exactly.
Somebody has a show like that. Is it LeBron or somebody has that? They're in the barbershop. They're not cutting hair, but they're in the barbershop chairs. And I think I saw one with Whoopi.
I've seen this on social media
Yeah,
quite a
it's some
bit.
show on one of the streamers, and I remember LeBron and and they were sitting in barbershop chairs, but they weren't. It wasn't like, okay, it's an active barber shop where there's real talk in the community and the guys are talking. Like it's not like that. And I'm thinking, okay, if you're doing the mobile barber, that's a great opportunity for a TikTok series, a Instagram live, a YouTube shorts, or whatever.
Absolutely, but you
I don't
have
think
to
about the
be
content.
You have to be business minded to think like that. You have to say,
Mhm.
because here's the thing, it goes back to schooling and training. Many people are trained to, okay, you're an actor and this is what you're going to do. And I
Right.
want to make money acting. And yes, rightfully so, you should. But you
Mhm.
then don't think like a producer, a director, or how can I do my own? Then the conversation is never how can I get my own? It's always how can I do this to enrich somebody else? So I think
Yes.
that the conversation has to change, and
Mhm.
then we'll start to see more of those things. But I hope he got something from that, because
Yeah.
that was a great service he did, and he could get
Yeah.
some
You
stories.
gotta think like you're NBC. You gotta think like NBC. Like what does NBC do? Do they make the shows? No, the shows are produced by this company and they come and they have you know what I'm saying? You gotta think like that. Like what would I put on? What would be entertaining? What would be must see TV? Or that's the attitude that you gotta have. And a lot of people don't have that. I understand, but
Yeah,
the information is available. The
absolutely.
process is available. The knowledge is there. You got to look in Google or whatever you like to search, and it'll pop up for you if you search for it. So,
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So
you're
the other thing that I covered on so my segment is called Pop Gumbo. So the other thing I covered there is the fact that on Tuesday Oprah Winfrey is going to have a special that will be, it's an ABC special, but it's going to be aired on Hulu, obviously,
Mhm.
ABC, Hulu, Disney, all of that. And it is about weight and weight loss and the advent of all of these injectables. So it's Tuesday, it will be on Hulu. It's an Oprah Winfrey special. She talks to um medical professionals and some of their patients about all of this. And one of the
Okay.
biggest things she talks about is the fact that about the allegations and the hate that's basically been hurled at her for
Mhm.
decades because of her own weight. So I think this is one reason she really wanted to do that. Go ahead,
Doc-
Teralina.
Dr. Tachi, I think I saw that special this week. And
Okay, okay, good.
yes, and it was interesting. And the whole myth of, you can just do this through pure willpower. And she talked about the reason why she divested from Weight Watchers so that she
Yes.
could have this special to talk about these injectables. And she looks great.
She does.
She talks
She
about how
does.
she struggled with her weight for 24 years. But I digress. Go ahead.
No, that was very
I
important.
think I saw the special, unless she's doing another one.
Yeah, no. This is the same one. So it's it's really interesting because this is a huge topic in culture, in media, etc. And lately you've seen so many people that have been getting on the bandwagon with things like Ozempic and so these other things. There are a lot of different brand names for these drugs. But the other thing that comes up with this is there are many people alleging that because there's so many people using these things for weight loss, it actually takes away supply for people who need it for things like diabetes.
Yeah.
So that's the other end of this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are two things I
Did,
covered. Go ahead.
did the Oprah special? I wanted to see it. Did it come on last night, or is it on Hulu, or is it on the street? Where
It should be on Hulu.
Okay, Hulu. Okay. All right. Because I wanted to see this because and I'll say real quick about Oprah and her weight loss journey, because you could go back to what was it, 80, 90, whatever, when she came out on the show with the jeans and the wagon full of fat. I kind of think, this is my opinion, that where she is now, she kind of caused that by making the conversation public. Not saying that was right or wrong. I'm just saying, okay, we've seen your journey between, okay, you got the she had the chef, she had Bob, I think his name was Bob Green, the trainer, and they had a line of food, and Oprah, and I'm thinking personally, like, okay, Oprah, you're a billionaire many times over, and you can't get this thing under control. So it's not about having a chef. It's not about your food or the intake, because you could hire people to do that, to watch you, or help you or train you. So it's a mental thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
But then
absolutely.
you come out with this special because people, rightly so, I think people have the right to call you out, Oprah, if you took Ozempic, or say, yeah, own it. If you took it, yes, I took Ozempic because you seen my public struggle, and this made me feel. But don't come out and say, well, oh, I'm being fat shamed. No, Oprah, because you started out that show. You invited us on this thing, and that was your choice. So now you can't get mad and say, well, fat shaming, or to hide behind that. Own whatever it is that you're owning, because we've seen your struggle, and you've got if Oprah can't get thin with the diet, exercise guru, weight loss person, trainer,
Staff,
the staff, having 20 chefs, who can? That means that it's a mental thing.
And she addresses that in the special. I think you'll enjoy it, TJ.
Okay, so I want to see that, but from what I'm reading, I don't like her going, well, she's being fat shamed.
Well, I think that the operative thing
I
is
don't
for
like
us
that.
we see the operative thing is for us to definitely watch the special. I think also when you're in the public eye, there are going to be conversations about this, whether you get too small or whether you gain weight or whatever. There are always conversations about, particularly for women. This is not a conversation that is had with men. And there's this whole policing of women's bodies as well that comes along with that. And so, I mean, I know she's always felt the pressure. My thing is two things. I just would not have made it a big deal or a big thing. Just make it a personal journey or something you did. If they want to talk about it in the news, good. That's not something I'm going to talk about. You just say, I'm just on a journey to be healthy, and leave it at that. Number two, I would have divested from WW or whatever they're calling themselves these days before I took any Ozempic. Now, I don't know that was not I don't know the chain of events, but what it feels like is she divested after losing all this weight by using whatever weight loss drug she used.
Yeah.
It should have been before. If you
Yeah.
knew this wasn't working, if you
Yes.
knew that, okay, you need something stronger, that's when you have the conversation with the board. I need to divest because I need,
Yes.
not that this doesn't work, but it doesn't work for me. So,
Yes.
you know,
And I'm just saying that Oprah's been a public entity for a long time. Like, and she shared what she wanted to share, but now you can't come 30 years later or whatever and say, well, stop fat shaming me or what. But you started the conversation. Once you put the conversation out there as a public entity or public, you can't control what we say and how we feel about it. You can only react honestly. And like you said, if she was taking this drug, whenever the timeline is, be honest about it above board, because it comes out. And it only came out because people were calling her out saying, oh, Oprah got that look, because there's a certain look, like your head is a certain size and then your body is like a stick. I think they call it Ozempic bobblehead. Something they were saying online. Yeah, it's a thing. They were saying that all the ones, you could tell all the ones because they had something about their head and they look like a lollipop, and they called it Ozempic bobblehead. Sorry, these are the things.
Okay, that is wild.
Who knew?
But hey, Gen Z is out there saying whatever they let it rip. They let it rip. That's what I like.
Not looking like a cake pop. Okay.
That's the thing. Gen Z calls it the Ozempic bobblehead.
Oh,
So
goodness gracious.
And I looked at it, and then I think she had the premiere for Color Purple. She came out in the purple dress, and she was so proud. And I was like, oh, she looked nice. But that's when all the Ozempic bobblehead thing came out, because she didn't own it then when she should have owned it then. Because, see, this is what happens. Gen Z will come for you no matter who you are. You can't sit on your laurels, Oprah, and then go, okay, you're fat shame. No. When you came out in that purple dress and people could obviously see a change because you've made your journey public. If she had been private up to then, that's a different story. But you made your story public. So now if you dish it, you got to take it. Oprah, I'm sorry. So she should have came out with that dress, and she looked great. She looks great. And say, oh, this is what, this is what I did. Because you were public 20, 30 years ago. Because you're a public. Now you must continue to be public. Or shut it down and say, I'm not talking about it. So what Dr. Todd said is correct. But because she's a public figure, you cannot eat off the public and then turn around and say, I want to be a private individual like that. If you get what I'm saying, I'm not trying to down you, Oprah. You have a lot of accomplishments, but you have to, if you live publicly with this, you must live publicly when you took the drug, but you felt embarrassed. But you should have came out and said, I'm going to talk about this at a later date. I took the drug. I'm in this purple dress. I'm going to talk about it at a later. She didn't do that. She just came out and was like, look at me. No, you can't do that. So she switched up on the public. Gen Z called her a Ozempic bobblehead, and here we are.
Sorry, Terralina, what were you gonna say?
That's what they did. So
yeah, I mean, I think too, we forget that a lot of people didn't grow up watching Oprah, who are now have access to public comment.
Yeah.
Okay. And this whole Ozempic thing, I think, maybe being the human beings that we are, we don't know if it's going to work for us. So do we want to announce, oh, I'm going on this? I don't, then it don't work.
You're right. But what I'm saying is this is Oprah. She made her living.
I like your approach, TJ. I like the way you said
she made her living being a open talk show host for 30-something, whatever long it was. But now you cannot clam up.
She has advertisers and publicists and people to advise her on how to approach this. So she should have called TJ.
Well, you can have like a team of 30 people telling you what
exactly.
But if you're the head, if you're the brand, you're the Oprah,
and it's not new for her.
Listen, I built my brand on authentic or on talk and being a
Mhm.
whatever she built it on talk show of being open to things and opening a conversation, she should have opened the conversation instead of closing it by just going, Mom. No, that's why she got called out. That's why she's getting this backlash. And it's Gen
Gotcha.
Z driven.
So
Mhm.
I don't know who this Facebook user is, but says I want to hear this again. I'm not sure what it is you want to hear again, but go
What
ahead
do
and
you want
put
to
it in
hear
the
again? And
yeah,
who
put
is
it in the
that?
chat. I'm not
Um,
sure who it is.
Yeah,
It just says Facebook
we
user.
can't if you're probably in the Facebook group because that's what happens with the Facebook group. We don't see who the name. So put your name.
Ah.
So if you're in the Facebook group, put your name in there and
It is
we'll
a Facebook user.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll be able to answer the question. But
Also,
hi.
the last thing about this, I think that we also have to look at the fact that maybe getting rid of the weight. Remember, she came out of abuse when she was younger, which
Yes.
probably has a
Yes.
lot to do with why she
Yes.
struggled with this. So
Yes.
overcoming it, in a sense, for her may also be like overcoming the abuse. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm
Mhm.
just kind of speculating here. So
Mhm.
to go back kind of takes her backwards into that.
Yeah.
So it's I'm sure it's a struggle, and those types of things are definitely something that you have to work out with a
Mhm.
therapist. None of us are
Right.
therapists here. We
Right.
don't know. We're
Mhm.
just speculating off of what we see.
No, I
Yeah.
agree with you that's probably a point. That's why I said it's mental because it's Oprah. She's got all this money. She's got three
It's
jets
a
and
good
20
special.
chefs and 50 homes. And but why, if she can't do it with all of those resources, that means it's here. And you're
Mhm.
right that whatever thing is
And
going on, and I'm not saying that she got to share that, but you can share a
but
little
that
bit.
was something that came up during the course of why
Right.
exercise, diet, etc.
Right.
don't
You
work
could
for
She could
everybody.
say that, this is what's happening right now. I'm not
Mhm.
ready to talk about it, but I will talk about it or I will discuss this at a later date, but
Yeah.
not go mum and just go and everybody's going, well, why is Oprah like a size 0 and Ozempic bobblehead? That was the conversations on social media. So it sounds crazy, and a lot of it is craziness, especially around the Kate Middleton stuff, and they were saying that she had all this and that. But that's what happens when there's a vacuum. When you don't put out a statement and you don't say this is what it is, we will talk about it later, or this is what it is right now. People will fill that hole online, and they're getting upset like, how dare they? No, that's what happens. The conversation used to be in the barbershop, or girls hanging out, or girls night out, or boys night, whatever it was. It used to be a private conversation. Everybody has social media now, so it's a public conversation. And if you're a public entity, I'm not saying that is fair or right. It is what it is. So she knows, as a media person, she knows way better than this. And if she listened to somebody on her staff, they need to go, because she should have said, listen, I'm feeling great. I'm looking great. I know you guys see it. We will talk about it later. I'm putting something together. I'm not ready. Or she knows how to say it. She knows how to put it out. So,
Or just not make any of this public in the first place. Anyway,
but she did it.
yeah.
That train started whenever she came out that show with the jeans and the black turtleneck. I forgot what year it was. That's when it started. So,
Yeah,
so
I feel you.
yeah.
So let's move on from Miss Oprah, or
Olympic
as folks in
bobblehead.
the country like to say, Ofra. So we're gonna move on from Oprah Winfrey, and let's talk a little bit about the IATSE Local 600. Now, remember, IATSE is the guild or the union for a lot of different people, but a lot of craftspeople in Hollywood, camera people, etc., are members of IATSE. That is their union. So the Cinematographers Guild has reached a tentative agreement with studios on craft specific issues. So IATSE has several different branches to it. So their largest local is the International Cinematographers Guild, and they've reached this tentative agreement. This is what they said. Today marked the conclusion of our bargaining team's in-person local negotiations with the AMPTP regarding our camera and publicist agreements. We've reached a tentative agreement on local 600 specific issues. We wish the remainder of the West Coast studio locals the best of luck as they negotiate their local issues. So we don't have a comment quite yet from the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the AMPTP, which, by the way, were the same entity that the actors and writers were dealing with during the strike. So I think they're strike weary. So everybody's trying to come up with something. So let me tell you who IATSE represents: cinematographers, camera operators, publicists, and others in the entertainment industry. So they've come to some agreement, and there probably will be more points for what that entails in the coming weeks, and I will let you all know about that. But know that strike averted. Not that there was any talk of one, but there won't be another one because they've come to an agreement. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, unless somebody else had something they wanted to say. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, what was this? 50 what? 2? Whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever Super Bowl it is.
Nobody remembers.
Super Bowl 60? I don't
I
know.
don't know if it was 57 or not.
What is LL? Yeah, maybe that's 57.
50.
LV II.
L is 50.
L is 50, right? So that's 57. Yes. So V is 5, and then the I is
That's
2.
57.
So 57. Yeah. Okay. You know, if you don't use your Roman numerals, you lose it.
Darn Romans.
So, exactly. And nobody, yeah. So Super Bowl 57. This did well for Paramount because, as you know, Paramount Plus had their hands in it, and it netted 3.4 million signups for Paramount Plus. Now that's nice. Are they going to stay? What we're looking for is lack of churn. So they can sign up, but remember, they have to have enough to keep me interested, to keep paying every month. So 65% of the signups remained subscribed at the end of February, according to data from the group Antenna that does this type of analysis. So that's not terribly bad. So people signed up, 3.4 million sign up, 65% of them remain subscribed at the end of February, because remember, the Super Bowl was at the beginning of February. Now, that's not even the real numbers that we're looking at, because we're going to be looking at March. We're going to be looking at April and see how many of this same cohort are still signed up for Paramount Plus. So you can't just gather these people and think they're going to stick around for what you have. You have to offer them something, because remember, they signed up because of the Super Bowl. Do you have other related sports programming that would be of interest to people who also like the Super Bowl to keep them around? That's the key thing. So here's the thing. The signups, they had a free trial offer, as you know. And 68% of the signups in that period came through that promotion.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a big number.
It's a huge number. And a number that and it's great, but then you're like, oh, how am I going to keep these people? It's kind of like, since we were talking, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said, that's a thing. Because you don't have anything in there for us to keep coming back to. That's going to be interesting.
Exactly. So I kind of think of it, since we were talking about Oprah Winfrey, it's like Oprah's favorite things, right? You have you're on Oprah's favorite things for either the show or when Old Magazine was around, or when she comes out with her list, and you then have all these people that are trying to buy a whole bunch of stuff, right? But you have to have, even though it's Oprah's favorite thing, that doesn't mean it's actually good. She tends to have good taste, but maybe it's not for you.
Right.
So you really have to have a good product and or something that's an alternative that these people will like to keep them on.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so it's the same thing. Now and again, look, the content game is tough. It is tough. It is not so simple to do whatever.
Mhm.
But to me, it should be less tough when you actually have some money to play with. And a lot of these people have money to play with. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the average content creator. I'm talking about these large media companies that have been around for in some cases over a century, and you still haven't gotten it right. Well, because you want to stick to old ways. So it's interesting, but yeah, that's a lot. And we'll see in the coming months how many people actually stay with Paramount
Yeah,
Plus.
exactly. We'll see.
Absolutely.
You can get them. Can you keep them on the farm?
Exactly.
Hey, Fred. Fred is joining us today. Hey,
Hello.
Fred.
Oh, hey Fred, how are you? And he says the purpose of content is to make people feel
Content.
Content. I love that.
Yes. The purpose of content is to make people feel content.
I
Yes.
like that.
That's really good.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a post for Threads.
Exactly. Put it on a t-shirt. You should.
Mhm.
He's a content king. He does a lot of great production. So, speaking of content, let's talk a little bit about this with GoFundMe campaigns. Crime stories. Now we're talking about readers. Crime stories drove readers to GoFundMe campaigns. So you read a story about a crime in the paper or, online in a magazine or whatever, and there's a GoFundMe campaign and it drives the readers to go there. Only in some cases, the victims didn't actually exist. So in recent weeks, there's actually been a series of articles that are apparently fabricated, published on the website Newsbreak, and used to raise money for victims of crimes that did not happen.
Oh my God.
Yes. Well, are we surprised? Welcome to America.
No, I'm
Okay.
not surprised.
This is not surprising. I'm just telling you what
Scammers
is.
gonna scam.
Exactly. So in early this month, a story showed up on Newsbreak in a series of articles. It was a hit and run accident that had left two people dead, Herman Cruz and his 4-year-old daughter, Amelia. And the story goes that Herman had been driving Amelia to her cancer treatments in Richmond, Virginia, when they were killed, according to the author. Okay, now that right there. Not that can't happen, but already they're piling on to add the insult to injury to pull at heartstrings. So here's the thing. So in each of the articles, the author directed readers to a GoFundMe page that was created to raise money to pay for the funeral services. And they said all donations will help and be appreciated. And the GoFundMe organizer identified as Jamel El Amin. And the campaign raised about over $1,500, but none of this was real. So the account holder published content under the name Blast News 65, identified himself as Jamel in an author bio. And in emails this week, Virginia authorities, both state and local police, told NBC News they had no record of the victims and no reports of a hit and run. In fact, the author appears that they've to have concocted the news stories and this news story and other news stories over the last several weeks. And in each case, the articles included links to GoFundMes where readers were moved by details of these crimes and they could open up their virtual pocketbooks. So 3 of the campaigns that NBC News saw raised a total of $2,700. So Arlington County Police Department said they have not investigated a robbery of the circumstance. He talked about a robbery and they hadn't investigated. So what's happening is that we don't have any record of this. We haven't investigated this. So this is interesting. So you have to be careful. You know how we talk about here we are, media literacy and being diligent. If here's the thing, it's a local news story. If something like this happens, you will be able to find this in the local news. That was Arlington, Virginia. Trust me, local Arlington, Virginia newspapers would have had that. Even the Washington Post, because that's DC, Maryland, Virginia area. You would have been able to find it someplace in the Washington Post. Before you open your pocketbook, do your research. Look for agreement. Look for news stories that would be talking about the same thing. That should not be the only place that happens. So here we are with being media literate again. The fact that you trusted this outlet that you found online, you did not find agreement. Before I post anything about a story, I look for agreement because I don't want to be wrong. Now, if they're wrong, that means everybody's wrong with all this. And then I'm like, all right, well, it was wrong. But chances are, if I check at least 3 or 4 sources, that it is not going to be wrong if they're all in agreement and all saying the same thing. Right now, again, yeah, they could pull it off of the AP wire or whatever, but for most cases, like in a local story, that's not going to be the case. They're going to be firsthand on the ground reporters sent from a news agency to do all of this. You mean to tell me nobody checked any of the local newspapers, even the Washington Post, to see if this was the case, and you were able to raise money that way? What? So let this be a cautionary tale to do your due diligence and check at least 3 to 4 sources for agreement to show that this story actually happened. And sometimes you find it will be a different reporter and you'll find out different details because it's a different reporter. And that gives you an even fuller picture of the occurrence. Thoughts?
Right. So Fred says, indeed, I always research for other headlines when someone shares a photo from a headline. And this reminds me of, like, if you're going to get a bid to get some work done, you just don't take the first person off the list. You get, what, 3 bids, is it, when you are looking for a contractor or a vendor? You look for 3 bids, not just the first one. So what makes us think we can just we just read one story? And you have, and watching YouTube is the same way. Somebody will put something on there, what is it, clickbaitish, the title.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at who is the person putting this out.
Exactly, the source.
Yeah, because just because it's on YouTube and it's a story about this, I need to know, who are you? You're not reputable. I'm not seeing, and it's, it could be I am Jack, somebody or another, and that puts a story out, even though he was talking about something else. You're not Bleacher Reports. You're not ESPN. You're not somebody with a credible background. I always check the little names.
Yeah.
Absolutely checked, because most outlets, if there's a reporter, especially if it's print news or print in quotes, you'll be able to scroll to the end of the story. There'll be a picture of the journalist that talked about this. Usually used to be links to their Twitter, but so I don't know what the journalist tool of choice is right now. Some are still on Twitter, some are trying to find their way, but you'll get to link and look at other things they've done. So Newsbreak, which is the site in question, actually has removed all of Blast News's 365 stories on the platform. And so, to tell you a little bit about the platform, it's an online platform that gives users free access to a diverge of locally relevant content by hosting it directly or linking to third-party sources. So it's like a news aggregator in a way. So they took them down, but you can't. It's the same thing with, like, okay, things that happen on big platforms like YouTube, etc. Yeah, you need to take them down, but you know how many millions of pieces of content are up there? It takes a minute before that happens. So you, as a media literate person, need to be sure you're not falling for it. Do your due diligence, because you saw how long it took for it to be taken down. So
yep.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Exactly. All right. So this is interesting. Let's talk about Abbott Elementary and Quinta Brunson. So apparently somebody thought that Quinta Brunson had knocked off their story, and hence it became Abbott Elementary. So she's actually been involved in a lawsuit, and a judge in New York dismissed a lawsuit against Brunson and ABC just this past Tuesday. It was filed by writer Christine Davis in 2021, and she claimed that the hit sitcom was a, quote, veritable knockoff of her show called The School Year. And the New York Post obtained the court decision, and the judge said that, quote, no discerning observer would find the works to be substantially similar. Indeed, as demonstrated by the court's analysis of each plaintiff's alleged similarities, the two works use qualitatively different plots, themes, and characters to cast different perspectives on the experiences of teachers in under-resourced inner-city public school settings.
Okay, so my first observation is, who are these other people? Because I've never seen them or heard of them.
Don't know. Some writer.
I've heard of Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
And I've heard of Quinta. Is that her
Yeah,
name?
Quinta Brunson.
Yeah, I've heard of her. And I'm see these other people. I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Well, and we have to be careful with that, because simply because we don't know who someone is does not mean that claims of plagiarism or outright stealing may not be valid. Often that's the way that people get away with it, because there are writers and people, creators that people don't know, and bigger entities think they can get away with it because nobody knows who they are, and they may not have the money to go ahead and fight this. And I'm not saying this is what she did at all, but I'm saying that we just have to be careful with that type of thing, because that it does happen. And this is why a lot of studios don't accept what are called spec scripts, where you're just writing something and then you submit, because they don't want to be sued. So they're not going to accept your work.
And you're right. But I'm just saying, I've never heard of the show, what was it? The School Years?
The School Year. Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean that it was a show that was accepted or any of that. From what I'm understanding, it's a script and an idea for the same thing.
Okay.
And I will say this, so it's not like it ever aired or that anything ever. No, it's but the judge found that the two were significantly different enough that that's not an issue. And I will say this, and you have to know, this is, if nothing else, I learned from my film training. One of my instructors, first thing they said, there are no new stories. There's just a spin that you bring to it. So every single thing that we see that exists has happened in some way, shape, or form before. You just bring a new story spin to it. So it also comes with, all right, the due diligence that you have. And it's totally possible that two writers in two different parts of the country can come up with a basic same concept at the same time. Why? Because we're influenced by the things we see. We're influenced by our experiences. Many of us have the same experiences, so it's not far-fetched to think that could happen. But these two were significantly different, according to the judge, so that's not even a thing. Yeah, so no lawsuit for Quinta Brunson. That's it. So anyway, here we go. She's safe. Let's keep going. I just have a few more. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about yeah, 3 more stories. Let's talk a little bit about Beyonce and her album, which is going to be released on March 29th. It's a country album called is it Country Carter? Cowboy Carter. So it will be released on March 29th. And in a statement, she's talking about why she had this new album. It's a bad experience. So again, for those of you who don't know, the 2 singles that are out now are 16 Carriages and Texas Hold'em. And they're seeing a lot of Texas Hold'em saw quick success, went to #1 on the Hot 100 for 2 weeks. Notably, Beyonce also became the first Black woman to top the Hot Country Songs chart. And that's interesting. So she said, I felt honored to be the first Black woman with the #1 single on the Hot Country Songs chart. That would not have happened without the outpouring of support from each and every one of you. My hope is that years from now, the mention of an artist's race as it relates to releasing of genres of music will be irrelevant. Well, that you can hope. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but you can hope. Um, so she said that this album is actually over 5 years in the making, and it came out of an experience that she had years ago where she did not feel welcomed, and it was clear that she was not welcomed. There's a 2016 song called Daddy Lessons, which appeared on, I think that was, yeah, it was on her Lemonade album, and she performed the song alongside the Chicks, the Dixie Chicks, at the Country Music Association Awards in November of that year. But country fans were upset with her performing at a country award show.
Yeah.
And so they also rejected Daddy Lessons in the country music categories that year as well, because she did submit the song for country consideration. So here's the thing, that's this album came out of that experience, and it's almost like her, oh, I can't, I'll show you, because I think, and we've mentioned this before, not that she is a country artist per se, but when you grow up in Texas, that's what you grow up around. I can't tell you how many friends I have that are Texans, and they grow up wearing cowboy boots. They grow up wearing cowboy hats, Western shirts. It is part of the culture. They grow up hearing country music. The whole concept of the cowboy is an African American concept to begin with.
There
It's
you
just
go.
that it has been usurped and put in other spaces and divorced from the original creators, where you think, no, this is not any longer your type of music. So that's
And
what that is. Go ahead.
What's funny about this is that her fans on, especially on X and other places, has gone back to when she was like a teenager in Destiny Child, the group that she started with. They were wearing cowboy hats and Western, because they were from Houston. So like you said, it's not like, oh, 2024, here she is wearing a hat. No, she's been wearing that stuff. This album was recorded 6 years ago or 8 years ago, after this event, when she was, doing with the Chicks. And matter of fact, there is an interview with I forgot, I think her name is Natalie something, she's the short-haired blonde one in the group, Dixie Chicks. She went on Howard Stern and talked about it, and somebody found it and pulled it up, where she talked about this incident of performing with Beyonce and what happened. That I think she said after they performed, like that clip, they put it somewhere online. I don't know if they put it on the CMA website or whatever. I don't remember that part, but she said they put the clip up, and the clip was the highest viewed thing they'd ever seen, but they took it down because there was complaints. And then she said she was so outraged, but they put it back up. So you can, she's telling that because she's one of the performers in the clip, and she's saying that's what happened. Like, it was taken down. And then, because people complained, but then she said 24 hours later, they put it back up. So take from that what you will.
Exactly.
And speaking of that performance on the CMAs, it's resurfaced somewhere. I know it's on YouTube, but I saw a lot of this on X, and they brought the performance back up. And if you look at it, you can see the faces in the crowd. Take from that what you will. You can see what's going on. So
Exactly.
there you go.
Exactly.
So
bless them, and may they be a blessing to their children.
Thank you for that. Absolutely.
So this my prediction, this album's going to be her biggest yet. This may be her album of the year. I just have that feeling, but we shall see. Again, why are you upset? She's making music. She's singing. Is she singing country, or is she singing rock, or is she singing jazz, or what does it matter? If you don't like her, don't listen. There's other artists. There's other genres of music. There's something for everyone. Enjoy.
Going back to one of the topic of, I guess, Kenta Brunson, Fred said there's nothing new under the sun. It all depends on how you shine your light on it.
Interpretation. That's all.
Exactly. Nothing new under the sun. Absolutely. Well, we'll wait to see what happens with
And
Go
one
ahead.
more thing about this album, and this is something that she does musically. She will elevate those who didn't have a spotlight on them. She did that with the Renaissance album. There was a lot of artists in the disco era and stuff that didn't get their due or their shine or their money. She puts them on the album, and they get to share in the accolades. They get to share in the revenues. So what she's going to do with this album is you're going to see, she's going to show people that, okay, you didn't know that this came from this. Here's the artist. And that artist who was maybe not undiscovered, but there's another word I can't think, but they're going to get their due rewards. Like they're going to get
uncompensated. Let's start with that word.
Now, and I'm not even talking about money. I'm not even talking about money. I'm talking about recognition. Like I saw on, I think it was CBS this morning. I'm not sure, but they were talking to a relative of the man there was a black man who helped founded the Grand Ole Opry. I think that was somewhere. I got to go back and watch it. And it's like 30 years or whatever years later, there's that recognition because somebody's doing a story on it. And then, you start talking about it and you discover facts that were uncovered. And that's what's going to happen. Like you're going to see this artist or that artist, or they talk about the banjo and the origins of the banjo and those things. So things uncovering things is going to happen. So
interesting
education going on. And again, you cannot participate in it. Don't.
Well, we're here for it. Country is not my favorite genre, but I'm here.
Me either. I'm not. You get me to listen to country? Not happening. But I want to hear this because, like you said, Fred said about it, it's going to be interpretations. So again, there's going to be negative and positives, and whoever negative, stay negative. That's great for you, but then there's a purpose for everything, and that's what's going on here.
Absolutely.
Didn't Beyonce get kicked back? You mean feedback, like negative feedback?
Didn't Beyonce get kicked back from doing
the okay. Yeah, there was some outrage about how dare she do the Frankie Beverly song, but Frankie Beverly approved it. So why are you mad? Don't listen to it. Listen to the original.
And here's the thing. There are people, you know what? She could sing chamber music and people will buy the album. So your small opinion in Beyonce land really does not matter. She is going to do what she wants, regardless of whatever. And I'm telling you that the remake of, and it wasn't even really a remake. It's kind of like
interpretation,
a remix and an interpretation of Before I Let Go.
Right.
That is like the HBCU anthem of that year.
Yeah. So you have So you have the old heads, the old school that like the Frankie Beverly one, and then she made something for Gen Z and millennials. She made something for them. So again, no one touched the original. It's still there preserved for you to enjoy. The artist, the originator, the writer, the producer, whatever he did of the original, gave her permission. So why are you mad?
Exactly. Oh yeah. Okay. So I see. Yeah, Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker. He switched over to. He's made a couple of switches where he was alternative rock, and then he did some R&B things on his self-titled album, and before finally moving over to country. Definitely. What is her name? Merica Guyton.
Mickey Guyton.
Mickey Guyton, not America. Mickey
Yeah,
Guyton.
Mickey Guyton.
She's another. It's sad that we could count the Black country people on our
See,
hands.
again, that's what I mean. This period of, okay, let me do this genre album is not for look at me. It's more of look at me, but look at all these other people that came before me that, hey, maybe you want to see what they're doing. Maybe you weren't exposed to them, and now I'm exposing you to that.
Exactly.
Those
So
people want to get their due.
this is actually a win for country music because it hopefully will get more fans because they'll listen to it. So I have two last stories that I want to do. They're just really quick pop culture stories in a sense. Everybody knows the site Glassdoor, right? Where you can kind of you can anonymously sign up to review companies that you've worked for. Well, users are saying that Glassdoor collected and added their names to their user profiles without their consent. So there's a user who goes by the name Monica, wrote in a post on her personal blog that Glassdoor added her name and the city where she lives to her Glassdoor profile following an email exchange with a Glassdoor customer support, despite the fact that she never provided her name during the sign-up process some years earlier. She accused Glassdoor of getting her full name from her email that she sent back to customer support, and then they added it to the Glassdoor profile. Now, this is problematic, right? Because if you are there and it's supposed to provide a safe space for you to review the companies you've worked for, now they know who you are. And even if you don't work there anymore, they can retaliate, because if you're not aware, you could go to apply for a job someplace else. They could ask the former employer and they could give you a scathing review or a scathing, what is it called? Recommendation.
Yeah.
So that's problematic in and of itself, because for the longest time, Glassdoor allowed users to sign up anonymously, but now we'll see what happens. So Aaron Mackey is an attorney with the digital rights group Electronic Frontier Foundation. And he says this: we hope Glassdoor will continue to defend its users' anonymity in court, but the latest news regarding Glassdoor's policy raises concerns about whether users may be identified even if their information is never sought by an employer or law enforcement. Those policies also appear to conflict with, or at least be in tension with, Glassdoor's goal of encouraging employees to candidly review their employers. This could be disastrous for them if they're not careful. I mean, it's already disastrous for them. So I wanted to bring that up because it's you should feel safe to review. And I think it's good because it's also a cautionary tale for other people who may want to work there. But we're looking at there's this whole thing with privacy now and apps. And this is part of the conversation. When you signed up, should you have, I personally don't feel that you need to have on any social media app that they need your whole name. And I'm suspicious when they're like, oh, well, we need your whole name because of for authenticity. No, that's not who I want to be here. So I'm always suspicious of that. And it's interesting because there was a creator I know who was creating an app, and part of it was like they asked for the birth date. At first, I thought they were asking for birth date because of, to make sure that the person is a certain age. They would actually put the birth date on the profile. No, you don't want that. That can lead to all sorts of discrimination. And so, and the thing is, I'm like, okay, this is not right, because also in order to not have your birth date included, you had to pay for it. I'm like, how backdoor is shady is that? So yeah, I was like, you can't do that. That's not right. I'm sure there are some laws somewhere against that. So yeah, I'm always suspicious. People will be being AI generated personas like on Apple Vision Pro. Absolutely. But you can already be fake without AI. And if you choose to keep your stuff private because you don't want people are private for all sorts of reasons. And I think that these apps and these platforms need to respect that. Now, again, if the people are applying for a job or whatever, yes, you need your full name. But for something that I'm using, yeah, no, that's not cute. All right. And then finally, one last story. Walmart is trying to lure wealthy shoppers with by revamping more than 800 locations, and they're adding high-end products like blazers and duck breast. How nice. So their previous attempts to win over richer customers fell short, because you know who the bread and butter of Walmart is, and it's not richer customers for the most part. So they're doing things. They have warm and bright lighting. They have shelves that display things like $50 silk sleep masks and soft comforters. It's like a deluxe Walmart, basically. So here's the thing. They're also trying to compete with trendier chains like Target, right? When you go into Target, shopping there is like an experience. That's why I try not to go in there, because I always come out with more than what I intended. So the best thing is not to go in, but they make it an experience. And when you go shopping, like Walmart, and I don't like Walmart for shopping because I just don't. But when you go into Walmart, the premise is let me get in and out. But at Target, you could be there for hours, smelling the candles, looking at the bedding. Oh, they've got this new blender on sale. I've always wanted a Dyson like that. So you could be in Target forever. And that's exactly what Walmart is starting to wanting to compete with. Now, they've already done some things. I don't know if you've been in Walmart lately and looked at the clothing section, but there was a store. Oh, you know this, TJ, because you live in New York. Remember Scoop NYC? So
Yeah.
Scoop NYC was a really big thing in New York, and then they closed their stores. But Walmart, I guess, acquired them or is in partnership with them, and now Scoop NYC is exclusively sold in Walmart. And it's pretty good quality stuff. So they're really trying to, you know, how Target has these collaborations with all these designers. They've had a collab with Missoni, the Italian fashion house Missoni. They've had with is it Rogers is the last name. Why can't I think of John something Rogers, the black designer? So they've had all sorts of great collaborations with all sorts of designers. Walmart wants in on that, because that's how you attract the trendier customers, right? That maybe have a little bit more money to spend. And that's good for your bottom line as a store as well. So yeah, you could be sipping on some $50 wine very soon from
Speaking of that, sorry to interrupt, but I went to Scoop and the Instagram, and the link is walmart.com/scoop. And when you go there, you're obviously on Walmart.
See? Exactly. And they've been working, like Walmart has been working with a lot of fashion influencers. And, you know, when you do that, you post, what do most of them pick? They're picking items from Scoop. They are picking Scoop items. So this is really good for them. You're going to see this trend happening. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to abandon their traditional customer base of the ones who like those quote unquote rollback prices, but they are looking for a new customer base, because there's only so far the people who only want to pay 50 cents for a whole 2 loaves of bread can go. It's only going to go so far. And then, you know, also doing that allows them to up the quality of things as well.
Ooh. I'm down the rabbit hole, because now Walmart, I saw a jacket that I like, and then Walmart said, well, you can choose a model, you know, you can design the AI model to see what it looks like.
You see what they're doing?
And I'm like, ooh, you can edit the model, and then it asks you, like, you know, how tall you are in large and what small, whatever, and there's colors, and you get to see what the jacket is going to look like before. Okay, Walmart. All right. Well, you know, before we poo-poo Walmart.
I'm with Fred. Walmart needs to create another chain with a new name.
Right. Yes, I was going to say that they need to. They should have done this, but not call it Walmart. They should have called it something else. So I'm trying to ignore all the Walmart looking stuff, but I saw, and I went to Scoop. I didn't go to Walmart. I went to Scoop.
Exactly. Well, very soon. Well, that could be the thing because again, they've not
Why
had
didn't it just call it Scoop?
because it's scooped by Walmart.
I don't want Scoop by Walmart.
They have, it's still the same scoop that we know and love. It's just now available to more people. And I think the thing is too, so this serves two purposes. It attracts that customer that is into that trendy Scoop NYC type clothing, but it also makes new customers out of things. People that want, some people, can really only afford to shop at some place like Walmart, which is fine, but that doesn't mean they should not have access to cute trendy clothing if they wanted. So it's there now.
And you can also take a picture of yourself. Not that I'm doing that, but you can take a picture of yourself and upload it as the model and the clothes, and then they put the clothes on you, so you really get to see what it looks like.
Exactly. Well, be careful
I
before
thought
that ends up
impressive.
on Glassdoor.
A picture of me. I'm not doing that.
No, absolutely not.
But they have the model where you can edit the model, and they give you like different body shapes and sizes and stuff to choose from. I thought that was pretty cool, but it's Walmart, so but
absolutely. And that's what I have for you. Those are the stories I have for you today.
Thank you very much. And Fred's comment here, he says Walmart has a bad rap for a class of people acting up. It's like shopping center for fired up circus employees.
Well, see, here's the thing where I am. I don't have a Walmart, so I'm okay with going to .com. But I mean, I do Amazon. But now I'm like, oh, let me look at Walmart. Because I don't have a Walmart.
And really quickly, so those are the other places that they're trying to compete with. So they're trying to compete with, as Fred says, Target and their fanciness and their fancy selves, the bouginess. But they're also trying to compete with online retailers like Amazon. Because if you go to Walmart.com, they're trying to offer some of these other things. They're trying to be an online marketplace as well. And so they're trying to tap into that new customer. And this doesn't mean you alienate the other customer base, but you realize that your growth is only going to go so far sticking with the customer base that you have, the pork and beans brigade. Nothing wrong with pork and beans, but I'm saying
right. Look, yeah, I'm thinking about this whole thing. If they wanted people to come in and spend high end, you got to get them in the store first. Most people thinking high end are not walking in to Walmart. They're just not going to do it. I do not. I'm with Dr. Tachi. I avoid Walmart at all costs. If I do not have to go in there, or if I have to go, I'm going in. I know exactly what I need. Go in, get it, and get out. I'm not perusing.
Ooh. Oh, sorry.
Now.
Spending my money.
Amazon was selling clothes with the logo. I bought some jeans from there. They were not bad, but I would never tell anybody I wore Amazon jeans.
You know what, though? That's another thing. Not to get into another rabbit hole, but that's another thing. There is an image problem when it comes to Walmart. It is associated. It's not a problem per se, but they're associated with a particular type of consumer. Target is associated with a particular type of consumer, right? So, and then Amazon is associated with all types of consumers. But there's a thing of labels and how you would not want people to know it's XYZ, right? So, it comes to marketing and it comes to image and all of that. And I think if they swung it right and it became the cool thing to wear Amis or Amazon jeans or whatever, it would just work. It's the same thing as like, for example, Trader Joe's and what they call the $2 Chuck, their $2 wine. I'm not a wine drinker, so I don't know what it tastes like, but for other people, it's not bad. So, you're cool with that type of thing. I think you just have to make it cool. There's a cool factor to it.
Listen, didn't years ago, I think it was Sharon Stone went to the Oscars in like a $2 white tee, and she paired it with like a designer skirt or something, and nobody knew until she said, "Oh, this was I think it was Gap or something." So she took the white top. The top was Gap, and then she had like a $30,000 skirt on or something. Nobody knew until she opened her mouth.
Yeah, that's what you call dressing high
Or
low.
walked up and touched her. But who was gonna touch her shirt? But if it was a Gap shirt, it was probably okay. Yeah, it was good cotton or whatever it was. I'm just saying that's the kind of thing where people who are really into fashion, they know how to mix and match. They're not gonna go, oh well, let me get that outfit because who was that went to the Super Bowl and had the socks and these are $30,000 socks, but they make you look
Jermaine Dupri looking like
Yes.
Eddie Munster.
They made the Mary J those little black patent leather shoes with the frilly socks. They made jokes. So, but what I'm saying is, he was like, "Oh, these are $30,000 socks, dude. They're ugly, and I don't care.
Go get your money back.
I don't care. It has to look good." So the people that are like really into fashion go, "Okay, I'll take this thing and pair it with this expensive thing, and then make it work and look good with accessories." Is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not. That's how I look at it. But that's
okay. I love Express for a reason.
I'm just saying.
But and Fred says there should be a show called "Stay in Your Lane," a show talking about what companies reflect.
You should make that show.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's your idea, Fred. You run with it.
And he said, buying clothes from Walmart is like having a 5-star dinner at a gas station.
Exactly.
Well,
and you'll be the one. Well, you'll be the one to get mad.
Because this Scoop stuff is looking good to me.
Scoop is looking good. I can't speak for their other clothing, but Scoop is looking
I'm
good.
on Scoop. I'm not in the other place. But the Scoop stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm putting stuff in my cart.
Is it called scoop.com?
I went to Instagram and did Scoop.
Okay, I'll go over there and take a look.
Because they have a link.
And if you go to walmart.com, you'll be able to find the Scoop.
Oh, yeah, here it is. It's walmart.com/Scoop.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't say that when you was in Instagram. They didn't say it was Walmart's.
It just says Scoop clothing brand. It does. It says exclusively. I didn't look at all of that. I went straight to the link. So it says exclusively at walmart.com, #Scoop style #, and then there's a link. So
wow.
Because I connected with the Scoop and then I'm like, well, yeah, I hit the link.
So here's the thing. The only reason why I'm going to go check out Scoop is because of Dr. Tachi and TJ. Other than that, I would not.
There's a big NYC. It's big. Yeah.
Right. But I would not have even thought about doing it because I wouldn't have went to Walmart first to find out. So
right.
So that is our week in tech history. Dr. Tachi, thank you. Terry, what you putting up there?
You going to Scoop.
Oh, you going to Scoop? You going shopping?
You going to Scoop?
Look at that. You see what I'm talking about?
See, they need to do something with that blue and
this could rival anything.
You can tap on it and change. You can change the model from this blonde lady, not down on her, but you can change the model and you click and you can change everything has a color, like that jacket denim thing has 3 colors and you click on it. And so I'm just saying.
Fred said I went to the doctor for an ailment. He asked if I went to Walmart or been near one.
That'll do it.
Yeah, they should have branded. They should have called it Scoop.
Yes, and just leave it at Scoop and then let us.
No, but remember, all the clothes are not Scoop quality.
Right,
I would be upset if I was the Scoop person and I'm like, I'm sorry, you're making this Scoop. Not today.
No, this makes sense at Scoop, but like their other stuff, they should have called it something else. And maybe
really quickly, they did have a line years ago called George, which was attempting to do what Scoop is doing here. It was a little bit, dare I say, higher quality. Well, not even higher quality, but more trendier styles. So they were attempting to do that. I don't think they have George anymore. I'm not sure, but this shows that this collaboration with an outside brand is something that can bring in, because there are people who really missed Scoop NYC. So it's good to see them representing.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you for bringing us this great information and content. Keep us content. We thank you for that. We want to thank everybody who watched live and on the replay, who are in here with us right now. Fred and Maureen came through, and I saw Lakeisha and some other people come through. Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking time with us this week. We trust that you got something out of what you saw today, what you heard today, that you can implement to make your life better. We are here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so that you can have a profitable business that's fun to run. You can catch TJ on Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 8 a.m., 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where she's giving us really good information for keeping us on track with social media. And if you want to keep social media literate, this is where you can get your social media literacy. Go terryjohnsononline.com/info. And Dr. Tachi's got a new thing coming up with her IndieSoupMedia.tv is coming live to a television station or channel or TV or mobile device near you.
Yep.
IndieSoupMedia.tv. And she's also on Mediascope. She's always here on Friday with us, unless she's on location.
Oh, and the new thing she announced today. What was that? The pop?
Yes.
The something gumbo.
Oh, Pop Gumbo on Wednesdays. You can see that on the TKBS, the Kenny Burns show Instagram account, and Instagram and their other accounts. So
okay, so what is it called now? Because I want to create that one.
My segment is called Pop Gumbo, and it's on TKBS, or the Kenny Burns show.
Okay, so Indie Soup Media, the Kenny Burns show, like Kenny Burns.
Correct.
Show.
And it'll probably be a link on your Instagram. Right?
Yes, I'll put it. I always will share it to my Instagram as well.
And it's Wednesdays. Okay.
Yeah, they'll appear on Wednesdays.
Cool.
Okay, Kenny Burns. I was just trying to get it up here.
What's the latest on your viral post that you had to pause the comments on? It was so viral.
Girl, I don't know. Let's see. Because I was like, I can't deal with it. I haven't looked at it as of late.
Oh, okay. You want me to tell you what the engagement is on that? I have a thing that tells me the engagement.
Oh, please do. Please do.
The engagement percentage on that one post of yours is 362.93%, and all your other ones are average, like 1 and 2. That's the average engagement rate, like 1 and 2. Yours on that one post is 362.93%.
Wow.
Yes. So there you can find Dr. Tachi, IndieSoupMedia.tv, the Kenny Burns Show, and Mediascope on Wednesdays. You can find her on Instagram to get all of the details. Make sure you follow her there. And you can become a part of the BizChicks community. You can text Biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. We want to say thank you again. Any final comments, ladies? Terry, you can take us out.
I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. We want to remind you it's okay to make money in your business. So go to the front of your own line. We'll see you here Monday through Friday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.